We are live. You are watching the Gooner channel on this illustrious transfer window. Anything could happen. I've heard Mbappe is in a cab on his way to the Emirates right now. Scott, the man from tomorrow, is joining me here. And I just want to say, before we start, Scott, before I hand over to you for your opinions on the week gone and the transfer window and all sorts of things we're going to talk about, hopefully joined by Kyle Walsh and Shaun later. Tardy. I just want to take this opportunity to say a massive thank you to everybody who has watched the channel. Today is the channel's first birthday. So it is exactly a year ago today that I did my first video talking about the signing of Jorginho and how I thought it was actually quite a good signing. Haven't changed my opinion. And I also just want to quickly say a massive thank you to yourself, Scott, to Shaun, to Lee from Football Dad's Army, who got me into live casting, and most recently to Kyle for basically making it possible. Because when you make your first video and you release it, you think, is anyone ever going to see it? We're a whisker away from 800 subscribers in the first year. I'm thrilled with it. And this is a passion project, something I do because I love it and I love Arsenal. And I also just really want to quickly say thanks to all the haters, because you do more to promote this channel than anyone. But for the people like Chalkers and Red Eye Gooner and so many others, too many to mention, I could not be more grateful for your support, because if you didn't watch these videos, there'd be no point making them. I'd probably still make them, but no one would ever see them, and I'd just be going slowly more mad. And the final thing I want to say is that I start, or always used to start, and now less frequently start every video with welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to the Arsenal, who, as we all know, are by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. And over the last year, I've had to defend that comment several times. But the funniest one for me was 3 nights ago when Lee Gunner Speaks Facts wrote, by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. Have you heard of Real Madrid, you mug? And I was like, I never thought I'd have to. It's a chant. It's what you. I've heard Tottenham Hotspur sing it. I've heard Barnsley sing it. Aston Villa sing it. Everybody sings. We're by far the greatest team the world has ever seen, and we sing it because we love our club. And so many people have said to me, "But you've never even won a European Champions League." And you go, "Yeah, no, it's not a factual statement. I'm not factually saying that we're the best team the world has ever seen. I'm saying I've chosen to be an Arsenal fan. Therefore, it would be ridiculous for me to say, I love Arsenal, but Real Madrid are better." And as for that, Lee Gunner, I've always suspected you were a real fan. But more importantly than that, Real Madrid came second last year, and they're second up until a few minutes from now in La Liga now. Toxic positivity. They've lowered their standards. It's not until they get rid of this useless Ancelotti and bring in a much better manager, someone like Pep Guardiola, and anything less than winning. And all of this is about the journey. You know, being an Arsenal fan is about the journey, not just the lifting the trophies. So I've had my say. I am hugely grateful. And we have Chalkers here with us tonight. I'm delighted to say how fitting.
It is what it is, though, isn't it? It's like, if you look at all the teams in London, every one of them says that they're the pride of London. Well, which one is it?
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter, does it?
It's just a blanket, you know, it's just what it is, isn't it? You know, obviously we do know Arsenal are the best team in the world. Even we might not show it, they still are to us, because it's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a stupid... like I said, when Barnsley were in the Premier League, hearing them say, we're by far the greatest team the world has ever seen, and you go, yeah, no. But it's all right for them to think it. It's not meant to be it's not meant to be real. You know, I think it speaks to the fact that a lot of these new fans that talk about standards and positivity have never been to a match. I love football because it's full of banter. You know, the pocket of Arsenal fans during the Palace match that was singing boring, boring Arsenal, I don't think they meant it. I don't think the famous Man United did go to Rome to see the Pope. Do you know what I mean? I don't think many of these chants are rooted in fact. I think it's just part of the banter of football, isn't it? And that's the beauty of it. And if people...
I'm just going to read this comment out for you. This is from ESPN UK. And it basically says, Mikel Arteta has more wins from the first 200 games in charge of Arsenal than any other manager in the club's history.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
So if we talk about progress,
it's not good enough. I want him out. I want him out, and I want him replaced with I can't think of anyone right now, but just get. I thought
that's the argument.
Banter,
there is nobody.
Old school Gunner. I posted on we won't win anything with Arteta, and I said, well, who do you want to replace him? And he said Ancelotti, me or you. And I was like, well, I'm not up for it. I've got a day job, and I don't think I'd do us justice. And Ancelotti's just signed a contract extension, so it's going to have to be. So we may be looking at a new manager. I love it when people don't take it overly seriously.
No.
This is a good one. Chalkers, and we never ran around Tottenham with our willies hanging out. Well.
No,
but do you know what I mean? Isn't that when I first went to football? I know I seem to say this every time now. When I first went to football, that's what attracted me. I couldn't see the pitch. I was too little to see the pitch. I was in the North Bank. And the only time you ever saw the pitch was when there was a goal and you got shoved to the front. You could see the So yeah, we are only speaking for ourselves. I only ever speak for myself, Chalkers. I'd never dare to speak for anyone else. But yeah, it was the crowd. It was the blokes that were standing there that were having a bit of banter. And people have lost connection to where football was. It used to be men worked 6 days a week. They worked Saturday and they worked the morning of Saturday, and after they'd work, they'd go and watch the football. And I've stood with blokes that just seem to go to the football and shout, and they're just getting out all their aggression, and it's
a release.
It's a pure release. But it never really had anything to do with trophies. It wasn't just trophies. Now there's a collection of people who never go to matches. They must be so furious. If they're angry with me for being toxically positive, how do they deal with 62,000 Gooners at the stadium cheering and clapping and enjoying themselves? It says more about them than it does about football. If you look at it, Brighton fans and Palace fans and, all these fans, they never win anything and they still go. And then they'll tell you, yeah, but we're better than them. And that makes me think I can understand why so many people hate us. Because I've never really encountered it until the social media phenomenon. And then everyone's like, oh, you lot are horrible. Just don't like you. You act like you're entitled and you're not. You act like a big club and you're not. And I think if you just watched our social media, you'd think that. But if you talk to real fans like you, me, Chalkers, Shaun, Kyle, we don't think we deserve to win the title. We just want to see it happen, and we have ideas of how to get there, right?
And it's looking at Liverpool demolished Chelsea the other day. Liverpool are it's just a fact they're ahead of us.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think, but they are.
No, yeah, it's really irritating, isn't it? I mean, you go into games like that thinking, is there any way Chelsea? Because traditionally Liverpool's always been a good game, and you think, I know they're miles adrift, and it's a 10th place team going to Anfield, but without Salah in the team, with Jurgen Klopp announcing his retirement, and they're still knocking in 9 goals in 2 games. They don't have a recognised number 9 out there, so look. Yes, I'll probably get hung, drawn, and quartered for saying it. Liverpool and Man City better than us. I was reading today that a supercomputer has predicted the results for the end of the season.
Oh, gosh.
And it's made Liverpool a slight favourite from Man City, and we have a 3% chance of winning the title.
Where are we? Are we in 3rd or 4th?
We're 3rd, but with only a 3% chance of winning. Yeah. So from here, it would be a huge result.
What I took from that Liverpool game was they won 4-1, and Darwin Núñez hit the woodwork 4 times. And he hit the woodwork 4 times.
Yeah, I know. They need a striker. Yeah. They'll never win the league.
What I see with Darwin, he's a bit of a Jesus type of player. He works really hard, mate.
I think the great thing about Núñez is he's a perfect example of how fickle. Like, everyone's got to have a story. Everyone does a podcast. Everyone does a show every game. So everyone has to have something to say. So when Núñez is scoring those 2 goals against Newcastle, he's the best striker in the world. Yeah. Then he's not good enough. When Jesus is winning the league with Man City, he's a great player. He's scored 4 in a game. He's a brilliant player. Do I think he's a straightforward number 9? No, I don't. Would I like us to sign one? Yes. But the idea that you can't win the league without a striker has already been put to bed, hasn't it? When
So
City did it.
is Cedric still an Arsenal player?
Yes, and he's likely to be until the 9th of February, because the Turkish window doesn't close till the 9th of February. So we're not expecting him to leave tonight.
Like the other day, you brought up like things like, we got Cedric on a free and things like this. And then I was watching Wax Online show last night, and he says, yes, he didn't cost us anything, but he's cost us 17 million in wages.
Yeah, no, I wasn't trying to imply that it was a good signing.
No, I know you were.
I was saying that, he's 110 grand a week, whatever that works out to. We've committed to a contract that was too much. I mean, it could have gone so much worse with Willian as well, because if he hadn't have somehow, out of the kindness of his heart, ripped up his contract, that was a lot of money we were down on that.
He did us a favour, didn't he?
He really did us a favour, and I'm not. Listen, I tried to do a balanced, show of who the good signings are and who the bad ones are. I think when you look at it like that, Klopp's had his not great signings. Pep, not so much, actually. Pep seems to get it right a lot. But most managers, I mean, look at Ten Hag, for God's sakes. I mean, if Arteta's been responsible for Anthony, I mean, it's not just Anthony, by the way. I think Casemiro they overpaid. They hugely overpaid for Rasmus Højlund. He bought Mason Mount. Anyone want to talk to me about how Mason Mount's doing? It's a litany. I mean, huh? No. He's been fit and then got injured again. But he's he could have picked him.
I just didn't know what they were doing buying Mason Mount there.
It's not just that, but Onana. We're getting criticised for Raya. Raya may not be everybody's cup of tea. He's not as bad as Onana.
No.
I just think that Man United have flopped everywhere. I mean, let's not get into Chelsea. I haven't got time to talk about every stupid signing they've made. But Tottenham, they've gone out there and bought Timo Werner. I think that's as bad a signing as Kai Havertz. I didn't think. I watched the first. It's so annoying. I watched the first half of the Tottenham Brentford game, and then
your best mate scored again.
Who, Richarlison?
No, Tony.
Ivan who?
Ivan Tonali scored again.
Did he? I thought it was It was he didn't. He assisted. It was
Mopé.
Mopé, who thanks. There was some shithousery in that. I will give Vicario some credit, their goalkeeper, right? Because there was enough pushing and shoving. So there's two people that deserve credit out of that game. One is Ange Postecoglou. And he was like, I hate all that when they're pushing and shoving each other around. He goes, if they want to do that, let's put them in a UFC cage and see if there's still such hot shit then. But my favourite moment, which I didn't see live, but at the end of the game, Vicario said something that really upset Tony. And when he was asked what he'd said, he said, I hope you didn't bet on this game.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did, yeah. So it's that's banter for you, isn't it? That's football.
That's going to be the go-to thing from players for Tony, isn't it? He's got to lap it up. It's going to happen.
It was such a niggly game. I was delighted with it. I thought Brentford looked the better side in the first half after the first 20 minutes. But it was, it's Tottenham. They're creeping up on us. It's frustrating how much credit they get for being behind us. Everyone goes, "Oh, Tottenham are doing a great job," and you go, "We are ahead of them."
What did you think to the Luton result? Wow.
No, I'm not saying anything about that.
Why?
Because I live in a Brighton family and I've
I remember you saying that before.
So gutted.
All I've got to say is they scored in 18 seconds.
I know it was, and this is another thing because De Zerbi picked Steele, and Steele, I would say he's their best keeper, but he didn't have a great one. Just these results happen. Brighton lost 5-0 to Everton last season out of nowhere. But it's
tell you what I did observe in that game, a great asset from Sambi Lokonga.
Oh, mate, yeah. But then I didn't see the whole game, and my friend at work, who's a season ticket holder, said that he should have been sent off. He kicked someone in the nuts, and I can't remember who it was.
Lokonga should have been.
Yeah, apparently. Because I said to him, I said, "Do you see the assist? It was like a raking cross-field assist. It was beautiful." But
it was a great assist.
Yeah, we should have him back, shouldn't we? How are you feeling about the? Well, I call it a transfer window. It's not really a window, is it? It's more of a what is it? It's a wall, transfer wall.
To be honest, I didn't think we were going to buy anyone anyway.
No, I kind of thought we might get. Well, we need some defenders. I'm a little bit gutted we haven't. It's funny because we need I just want to say, certain will be celebrating St Totteringham's Day, the highlight of the ecclesiastical year. It is a special day in all of our hearts, and we went without it for a long time. I look forward to it a great deal. I like to try and predict when it's going to be. Probably April this year, I would imagine. I honestly, I was shocked. I didn't think I was going to be shocked this season in the January transfer window. And then you think about it, we let Tierney go on loan in the summer. We've got Zinchenko's our only left back. Jakob Kivior doesn't look good there. And Lino Sousa's been on the bench. And you think, well, maybe he'll get some game time if we don't bring in a left back. And then Arteta's gone and got rid of him. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
He's gone to Villa and then Plymouth Argyle on loan for the season.
You probably don't like that move, do you?
I'm torn because I haven't seen Sousa. I mean, I think there's a couple that have gone, which is heartbreaking, which you can kind of understand. Aziz has finally gone to Spain after 12 years at the club. Ibrahim, who captained the Youth Cup side to the final last season, he's gone to Hertha Berlin. And Lino Sousa's gone, and yet Cedric remains. Make it make sense. I think the more worrying thing for me was Mario Koscielny-Dubry is yet to sign a contract, and Will Walters and Dubry are apparently waiting till summer to do that. And it just makes me think, when you see Liverpool bringing on a fullback who scores goals, when you look at players that Pep's brought through and Rico Lewis playing, and you think, everybody's doing this. Man United have got Kobe Mainu. Everybody's bringing through young players. And you know what I was thinking it's like? It's a little bit like the scene in one of the Star Wars films. I forget which one now, where Anakin walks into the room full of younglings and then his lightsaber comes on. It's a little bit like Arteta walking into the Hale End Academy going, do you know what I mean? Like, there would be no. And on a more serious note, I started thinking about it. Bring back Gus Caesar. Yeah,
because that is a criticism I know you do have of Arteta.
Yeah,
and I but you're obviously you're only positive. You don't have any criticisms.
Yeah, so I'm going to do my best to criticise him positively. Thank goodness he hasn't used any of the bright talent we have in the academy, because that would be a real. Do you know what? It really winds me up, because if you think about it, we've got Hale End. We're all really proud of it. Burn it to the ground. If in 4 years you can't produce a single player to get a single minute, it's not worth it.
You see, I'm not sure what goes on with that. I think I said it to you before in the last one. It's like when we were playing Palace and we were 3 up. Ben White was, having a bit of a stinker near the end of the game. It's like, why? That was a perfect game to take him off and get Dubry on for 10 minutes. I don't know why I don't know why Arteta's not capitalising on them moments.
Well, Dubry, Will Walters, you mean? Oh, Dubry wasn't even on the bench, which I find that absolutely stunning to me.
Because that would have been the perfect 10 minutes for him, wouldn't it?
I think if you can't have it both ways. At the moment, Arteta's come out and said that we're a squad that's very thin in areas. You go, we are, so maybe use what you've got. If you cut your cloth according to what you have, so give Will Walters 10 minutes. It drives me mad that we're chasing Jorel Hato at Ajax, who's a 17-year-old.
We've got players like that. Yeah,
well, we've got players 2 years older than him. Will Walters is 19 years old. We're leaving Sousa. Look, first of all, I know I started off by talking about Lino Sousa. He isn't actually a product of the youth academy. It's something I want to address. We signed him from 2 years ago, so he was brought in. But in that 2 years, I've seen him talked about as the perfect modern fullback. He was on the bench again. He was on the bench a couple of times this season, nothing. He went away to Dubai. Arteta's taken a look at him, so don't rate him. And I wonder if some of this is down to the fact that Arteta was a product of La Masia and didn't make it. And if he just thinks that, footballers, I don't know, he just seems to have this real. I don't know if there's going to be pressure on Per Mertesacker and their relationship, or because if you can't, I mean, I know they brought, I really loved watching the FA Cup, Youth FA Cup run last season and the documentary about it with Jack Wilshere doing a really good job managing that team, and some really great players. Ibrahim was one that stood out. Sago Jr. has gone on loan now, and he's a player who actually has got minutes in the League Cup. So that was weird. But for all of the promise of some of these players, I think when you're looking at Charlie Patino on loan at Swansea after a really good opening start to last season at Blackpool, if you're looking at some of the players that go and, I mean, look at Joe Willock. He's one of the first that Arteta got rid of, and he's done all right at Newcastle. He's had his injury problems. I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles is one that didn't do well. But we're starting to, I just worry that we're going to have another Serge Gnabry on our hands, where a guy doesn't get a game and suddenly becomes one of the best players in the world. And I think Cozy Dubry could well be that player. Newcastle are talking about signing him, and if they sign him, they'll give him minutes. And if they give him minutes and he plays really well, what is the point in our youth academy?
Do you think it was the right decision when Hutchinson left?
Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because he's just... No, I think it was a bad decision for him, but that's because he went to the wrong club. But that's Chelsea for you, right? So,
it goes into Chelsea, then they buy 10 players after they buy him, and it's like,
I think you've got to pick very carefully. I know that Cozy Dubry is being chased by Chelsea and Newcastle. Of those two, you would hope he would have the sense to go to Newcastle, but we shouldn't be talking about it, because you can't tell. No one's going to tell me that we rotate well enough. He started using our subs better. He started rotating. Maybe he is listening. Maybe he is learning. I think it's going to take us being out of the league race, the title race, for him to start playing these young people, because he's a young manager and he's got a lot of pressure on him. He wants to win every game. But I think if you can't... Look, let me put it to you another way. That first half against Nottingham Forest, there was nothing going on in our half, right? So... do you need Saka? There's two things I want to talk about, actually.
Weird game. That was a weird game.
It was a weird game. But first of all, here's what I don't understand. I mean, do you need the best players in your team to go and play in Nottingham Forest like that? I thought you could have played Nelson instead of Saka and had them on the bench. But more importantly, I'm not a tactician. I don't really understand football tactics, and I don't really care for them. So it's just too complicated for me. But I think if you are playing against a team that just floods the box, right, that just puts every defender in the box, surely just have a shot and see what happens, because it's going to bounce all over the place. And then you have an Nketiah in there and maybe he tucks it away. I know Jesus got the first goal and set up the second, and I'm glad he was on the pitch. I always love watching him. But I feel like we're overcomplicating it. It's like every player, when they get it, instead of having a shot, they'll pass it a couple to the right or try a cheeky back heel. Do that, but get the first goal first. Because what happens when you get the first goal is that Nottingham Forest go, oh, we've got to break forward. And it seems to me like they're scared of losing the ball in the opponent's penalty area. And I think that's the place you can lose it, because if Nottingham Forest pick up the ball and run with it, and Declan Rice or Saliba wins it back off them, then you can finally start playing behind the lines, And I think maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but it doesn't seem...
I think that's about right, mate. And it's like, if you look at that first half, I think we had it up to about 81% possession, didn't we? And it's like, great, we're controlling the game, but it comes to us like we're bringing the ball up so slow, and then we're all like in like a D shape, and we're just going pass.
It feels like they're scared, It feels like they're scared to lose the ball. But if there's somewhere you are allowed to lose the ball, surely it's the opponent's penalty area.
But one thing I did like about it, because so it's like, it's weird because it's like we've got so much control of the game, but we're not really doing anything with it. And what I was really pleased to see was Smith Rowe breaking them lines in the middle. He was finding so much space. Did you notice that?
I thought he looked a bit rusty, but listen, I can't be objective about Smith.
Well, you can see what he's doing, can't you? You can see his movement off the ball.
Absolutely love him. It reminded me a little bit of some of the games in the under-21s youth tournament this summer, where he just looked good, but there were times where he came up. He wasn't a starter in every game there. For me, I think the one thing that we're missing is just look. Have Nketiah start against Forest, or not that I rate Nketiah, but somebody who's going to stay in the penalty area and just whack the ball low on the ground and see what happens. Because that's got to be the hardest thing to defend against when someone's just drilling. When you defend against Arsenal, you've just got to provide a wall. They won't shoot.
Yeah.
And then shots going over the bar is annoying as hell for me because you're going to have a shot, get your knee over it.
And when you take them shots in the box, you've got the potential for the ball to bobble anywhere, haven't you, and open it all up.
Worst case scenario, they get hold of it, their keeper gets hold of it, then they've all got to run up to at least try and attack us, and that's where we want them. This thing that we've started doing this season where not just Raya, but a lot of the players will put their foot on the ball like Brighton do. And it's like, no one's buying that. No one's charging at you. Nottingham Forest are like, we're not allowed to come out of our area, so do what you want, mate.
I think, what's the guy from Wolves called? The manager? Nuno. Is it Nuno?
Neto.
He's very negative. He sets them up very negative, doesn't he?
The Wolves manager.
Yeah, the one. Who's the manager?
You mean the one who's now Forest manager? Nuno. Yeah.
He sets them up so negative, doesn't he?
Well, they were hugely negative, and fair play to them.
But I think one thing, and I think Alan Brazil said this. And I actually agree with him. It's like they said, Arsenal had 19 shots and 3 on target. If we, and I get it, we say we maybe don't need a striker, or we do. But if we did have a striker, mate, he said we'd be banging 5 goals in every game.
Yeah, and if what's it that famous Gio de Campo said, and if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bicycle. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like what do you say to that? If only Superman was up front, if we had Thierry Henry, I'm dealing with what I'm watching. We went there. There was one particular moment where David Raya was on the halfway line and he was off. I was thinking, is this the new tactic to score goals? We just could put 10 forwards on and have Raya be the only defender. Because it wouldn't have made any difference. Do you know what I mean?
But I wouldn't put it past Arteta to do that.
I think Arteta, the problem with being young is that he feels the pressure. Yeah. I think Postecoglou is a classic example of, look, I might win the league, I might lose the league, I don't really care, I'm going to do it my way and fuck all of you. And he says what he thinks.
I think he's a breath of fresh air, mate.
Brilliant, yeah.
And I tell you what, living in New Zealand and Aussies, they're very similar. There is so many Aussie chaps and New Zealanders that are like that. They're just straight gunners and just say, hey, I don't care, mate. You don't like what I say, so what?
It's nice to have an Australian manager. Do you understand everything he's saying? He's got a bit of banter. He always looks a bit like, when he's interviewed, he's always like head down. He always looks like one of those hostage videos.
He's quite witty, though, isn't he?
Quite well here. I don't mind it. It's all right. The food's not bad. We're probably not going to win the league. Wind your neck in. Don't be so stupid. All that kind of stuff. I love him.
I was actually quite impressed with that impression. That was good.
Thanks a lot, mate. Compliment on
don't milk it. Don't milk it.
I don't know. I think for me, as I said, I'm oversimplifying it, but then I think that's the antidote to overcomplicating it. All the back heels that Odegaard's trying to do and everything. It's like, take the ball. I like Zilly when he does. Of course it is, because you're watching the first half of the Forest game going, what if we don't score?
But it's like, what's happened to that quick 1-2 passing that we've had?
It's not quite there.
Have we been told not to do it?
I don't know. I think there is an element of overcoaching at the moment, because there's so many times where you watch a player and he's doing what he thinks he's supposed to be doing. And I think in the mix, you need a Bergkamp. You need someone who goes, I'm going to do what I think the game. Look, a great example of this is Kevin De Bruyne in the game yesterday. Man City obviously massacred Burnley. Kevin De Bruyne, leaving aside whether you fancy him or not, he is an amazing footballer, but he is a sort of player who he's the captain on the pitch. He knows where he's supposed to be and how to orchestrate the team. And I don't think Odegaard is that. And I don't know if we have one who can do that. And maybe if Emil Smith-Rowe grows into his role, but I don't think he's that either. We need a player like a visionary, like an Ozil or a Bergkamp, who can dictate where people go with the quality of their passes. And at the moment, one of the more frustrating things about it is if you look at Saka in that Forest game, and I said it in the video I did afterwards, it feels like him and Ben White have had a falling out because they're not connecting like they used to. And even when Ben White is bombing forward, which he hasn't done for a while, Saka comes inside. And what was really interesting to me was a number of times Saka was wide out on the right and no one tried to find him with that one quick ball. The kind of ball that Doku played earlier in this, I can't remember who, he played it to Silva. Silva squared it and in it goes. We're not doing that. Lee, I gave you a shout out. Football Dad's Army got me into live streaming and always great to see you here. So
I've heard of that.
I'm seriously worried about the Liverpool game. Yeah, I think we all are. But do you know what? I am and I'm not. I think we could beat them. What do you reckon?
I knew you was going to say that, Dan. See, for me, I would take a draw. You know, being all negative.
You can't think like that. You can't. Look, when we played them in the cup, if we'd taken our chances, we would have battered them. I know that's an easy thing to say.
Yeah,
but this isn't an invincible Liverpool side. You know, they look on form. I don't know. I think it's a very even match without Salah in there.
Thing is, you can get at Liverpool. Liverpool, if you bring it to them, they will make mistakes in defence. If you push them. But I think for me, my heart, my heart's telling me it's going to be a draw 1-1, but my head's telling me we're going to lose 2-0. And I hate to have that thought. That
it doesn't matter, does it? I mean, I like Chalkers here. I tend to agree with this point. Taking our chances early will beat toxic positivity. You've lowered the standards. We need to kill everyone and start again. But I think none of us can call it. I remember the FA Cup game. I think Shaun came with me to that one when Carragher had a coin thrown at him and there were like 2 players sent off, and Liverpool Arsenal were quite close then, and we managed to get past them. We don't have a great record at theirs, but they don't have a good record at ours. So it'll be a title. It'll be an early title decider for us if we lose that, because we've got to give up hope at that point. We've got 8 games coming up, right? If you look at our run of 8 games, if we won all those 8 games, we'd be in the middle of March in the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
Who we got after Liverpool? Is it West Ham?
West Ham. Then it's Burnley. I'll have a look. I looked at this earlier today. There's some winnable games in there. There's some tricky ones as well. But like I said, there's 8 games coming up. I'm not saying I think we will win them all, but if we did go on a little 8-game run, which is not beyond us, that would take us to 10 games in a row. And if we won those, we'd be seriously there or thereabouts, right?
Do you think if we beat Liverpool, it's game on, isn't it?
No, because honestly, I think we're both chasing Man City, so I don't think it can do us.
Do you think, though, if we lose against Liverpool, we're playing for 3rd and 4th?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I feel.
Well, I could still see Liverpool having a wobble, but with the emotion of Klopp leaving, and I think Liverpool aren't necessarily a bet. I think if you looked at just the first 11s, I think it's so close between the top 3, but you give it to Man City. But as a squad, the problem I had with the Forest game is, going into the second half and you think, okay, who do we bring on? And you look at the bench and you go, well, Trossard or Nketiah. Whereas if you're Liverpool, you look at that bench, it's got a lot more depth to it. And City is just silly, isn't it? You've got Haaland on the bench and you're winning, comfortably. I don't think they broke a sweat, really.
I'll tell you what I worry about. I always worry about Jota when we play Liverpool, because he turns up against every game.
Yeah, he's a player that goes right under the radar. He's great at Wolves. He's a great footballer.
And he spends a lot of time on the bench still, doesn't he?
Yeah, but I don't know if he is. I think he's been injured this season. I think he probably would get more game time. They've got, on their day, they've got great I don't know. Look, honestly, all this head and heart, I don't know what I think that score is going to be. I totally agree with Football Dad's Army. I'm seriously worried about it. I am, because the same reason I was worried about the Forest game, same reason I did the video after the Palace game and I was angry with our toxic fan base, because I'm sick of being worried what the rest of. Do you know what I mean? It's like we're doing our best. We're a family. We should all be supporting each other. And we get so much stick from Tottenham fans about bottling and Man United fans about not winning in Europe and not being dominant and all the crap we get from everyone. And then we get crap from our own fans. And I just think I can't bear the outpouring.
Like, you know, even when I was with Lee on his channel earlier, and we were talking about the Arteta situation, we was like, look, we have to be realistic, you know.
Yeah, I watched that, and I was really pleased with both of you, because I thought
we are really, you know, I've always said I'm 70% behind him. I maybe think he's not the one before the one, but I'm going to back him down.
I'm not. You know, I've been accused all week of taking brown envelopes to support Arteta. I'm not saying I think he's going to win the Premier League. I don't know if he will.
No, you've said that. Yeah,
I think maybe he won't, and that's unfortunate. But you can't just get rid of him until you know. And I think he hasn't lost the fans yet. When I look at Ten Hag, and I think you've lost the players. You know, like if Rashford's going nightclubbing the night before training and then doesn't turn up and goes.
Did you hear the Rashford rumours? Ridiculous.
Yeah. How funny is that? Like, what? Like, we would sign Rashford. I would be furious about that.
We don't want anything like him.
Nah.
But, you know what? But I'm just going back to what I was saying. It's like, look, I've had to be realistic about this. And it's like, you know, he is the best person for the job. Sadly, he is. It's like, we're never going to get an Ancelotti. We're never going to get a Zidane. We're never going to get we're never going to get these people that these people.
You're right, and I was glad you said that, because one of the things that really stands out to me, I want to have this debate. If you're watching this now, or if you're watching this later as a recording, and you feel passionately, we had Kyle on last week. Hopefully, he'll show up this week, but he's running half a late.
Yeah, I wanted to see that, because we know that Kyle's not convinced with Arteta, and I want that. I want us to debate as fans, because we have a love for the club. We don't have to agree, but we need to talk about why you think that. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
No, not at all. And I'm ready. I said to him when he came on last week, I'm ready to be convinced. I'm not saying I'm Arteta in or out. What my point is always, it's easy. It's like, get Brexit done. You know, I've had enough of kick racism out of football by kneeling. It's like, these are big issues. There are not easy answers. If it was an easy answer, we'd have fixed it by now.
Sadly, I know that, you know, and I want to keep racism out of football and all that sort of thing, but sadly, I know that kneeling does nothing.
Oh, I don't know. We haven't tried it enough yet.
We've only done it twice this year.
Everyone in the world kneeled. I'd love it to be an easy fix, but so I say to people, all right, we got rid of Arteta. I've granted your wish. Who'd you bring in? And then it goes very quiet. It's
because there's nobody. There is nobody.
Yeah. Well, what about Diego Simeone? Yeah, he doesn't. Rubbish. He doesn't want, because this is what you were just saying, and this is, I think, a point that no one ever dares say. It's like, believe it or not, Zinedine Zidane is not sitting at home waiting for the Arsenal job.
Doesn't speak English. Has no interest in speaking.
Never come into England. That was the point.
Basically, that's that completely out the window. And then you've got Simeone, right? We get people go, oh, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. He does this. He does that. His football is so negative. And then you guys moan if we play anything negative in a game.
I know. Can you imagine?
If you bring Simeone in, that's what you're going to get.
And to get Diego Simeone, he's only won 2 leagues in 13 years. I wonder if that would be good enough. This is a great Chalker's put a league gun and wants the higher standards for AFC, but I wouldn't want us to descend into being a hire and fire club like Chelsea. As the great Joe Mercer used to say, win with grace, lose with dignity. I don't know the Joe Mercer quote, but anyway. I like it. 100%. And what I was thinking about this because there was an interview with Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And there was an interview with Graham Souness talking about how he'd said to Mourinho, when you lost Zlatan, you lost the dressing room, didn't you? And Mourinho at Man United, they couldn't wait to get rid of him. But think about what Mourinho achieved at Man United.
With a crap team.
With a crap team. And look, have they been better since they got rid of him? You know, you go to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and then Ragnick, who to be fair to him, never went there as a manager, but stepped in because he had to. And now you have Ten Hag. And I think that Ten Hag is comfortably the worst of all of them. I don't think there's been progression from Moyes to Mourinho to, God, I always forget the other one. Who's the Dutch guy? Van Gaal. They've lost so much in chopping and changing. And
then another name that comes up with the job for Arsenal, De Zerbi. It's like the guy is a rookie manager, the same as Arteta, and it's almost like you're picking him because he's like a cool hipster sounding manager. You know how he is.
I mean, Arne Slot. Right now, obviously, Xabi Alonso's the. It's interesting to me because Xabi Alonso's the favourite to take over at Liverpool. But if you analyse it, Xabi Alonso is currently winning the Bundesliga. But if he ends up coming second, won't you have just done an Arteta in the Bundesliga?
And it's his first 6 months in a job.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's an incredible. By the way, Bayer Leverkusen, for where they are, they've never won the Bundesliga. It is a hell of an achievement. And, you know, it's because he's got Granit Xhaka, and Granit Xhaka. The same people who couldn't wait to get rid of Granit Xhaka are now saying we should never have lost him. There's so much confusion.
I don't think we've ever mentioned this, but I never wanted to get rid of Xhaka at that moment.
Well, when he threw the captain's armband down?
No, I meant, yes, I did. But when Arteta brought him back into the fold, not last season, the season before, I could see that there was what he was doing. I could see what he was trying. And when we got rid of him at the start of this season, I believed we needed to have him for one more season to transition a player into that position.
Yeah, well, you know, he'd done a gentleman's agreement. I think Shaun talks about this. It seems like he'd done a gentleman's agreement. Arteta said, I'll let you go whenever you want. I said at the time, I'd rather keep Xhaka and lose Partey. But life doesn't always give you what you want. You know, it's not always about getting what you want. I hope Patrick Vieira and Sol Campbell get further managerial opportunities. Absolutely.
I'm just going to read you this. I just found it here. I've got a thing about Xhaka that, you know, where is it? In here. 1 second. Oh, here we go. So basically, he has had more touches in Europe than any other midfielder. 1,000.
I did see this. Yeah.
Most final third passes.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, when we're discussing the Bundesliga, I feel like I have quite a lot of knowledge on this because I got criticised for this by Big Kenny Kens, another one of these ID frauds. It's not really Kenny Kens; he's just someone pretending to be. Said that because I like Bayern Munich, you can only support one club, and that's it. And I would just point that out to Lee Gunner or Lee Gunner.
Country.
Yeah, look, it's just stupid. But I do watch a lot of German football, and it's not as good. But the Bayer Leverkusen.
I'm always Arsenal, but I have one Premier League team that I have a little bit of a soft spot for. And it's always been Everton. And I think that's I don't know what's going on with me. I'm taking leave of my senses or something.
What, mad? That's who
I like blue. But I don't know why, but I've always I think it's that prestigious thing. They were an old club, but and I believe they always should be in the top four. Yeah. I don't know why, but I've always had a soft. Obviously, I don't support them, but I've always had a soft spot.
It's an easy side for an Arsenal fan to support because you're never worried they're going to beat us, are you?
No,
apart from last season.
And I think probably as well, even now Sean Dyche has took over, I think it's a bit like, well, I like Sean Dyche. He's a straight gunner, so I want him to do well because I like the chap.
For me, it feels a little bit like you're an Arsenal fan. It's all pâté de foie gras and caviar. So you need a little bit of chip shop chips to go with it, and that's your Everton.
Yeah, and I often go onto an Everton live and have a chat with the chaps on there, and I tell you what, them Everton fans are so passionate.
Yeah, a guy I used to work with. I've worked with some Everton fans. Sadly, he passed away not long ago, and he was an absolute diamond. And look, that's one of the things about football is away from all the social media hatred and bile. And I just also want to say, look, for all of the people that leave nasty comments on this channel, thank you.
Yeah.
And for all the people who tell me what I should and shouldn't say and what I can and can't do, you have no idea how important your opinion is to me. because you would scarcely offer it if you knew how little I cared. But whenever you do offer your opinion, it helps other people to go, oh, he's not like them. For me, you know, who you support is not really a choice. It's like if you're from Everton and your parents were Everton fans, your grandparents were Everton fans, you're Everton fan. But the most of the Everton fans I know had so much humility about it, and so they're just fun, you know. Yeah. This is what it is, you know. And I think
I always think when I look at Liverpool people, it's like the true Liverpool people support Everton, that sort of thing.
Well, it's like I always used to say about Man. I mean, the only times I've been to Old Trafford, it does strike me that that's not in Manchester. You know, like that's an industrial estate somewhere. I have no love for that part of the world. I don't know if it's Manchester or a suburb of Manchester, but it's a shithole. And I've always felt like real Manchester people are City fans. I'm hugely exaggerating that. I don't know well enough, but Lee from Football Dad's Army, check out that channel if you haven't yet. I'm sure you have. He's been on. Hopefully we'll get you on again soon, Lee. I would have sold Xhaka at the first opportunity after he did with the armband. Same here. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I agree. So would I. But also, as well, Lee, when we had that conversation the other day, we both agreed that we are missing that guy so much.
Yeah, well, we're missing Thomas Partey. You know, you could talk about we're missing Xhaka. We're missing both of them. And honestly, to be without Partey all season, without Xhaka, to throw Kai Havertz in there, I think we're starting to see that Kai Havertz may have lost that chance to Emil Schmeichel, who I love, who's great, who's wonderful.
You know, and
look, we have a new person joining us. Some 46 minutes late, a minute or so before we leave. In fact, it's not worth bringing him on. I'll just bring him on and then dump him off really quickly. Goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
I'm sorry, guys. I got
whoa, you're blowing me ears off.
Sorry. Like, instead of being sorry, you better just be really interesting.
What's going on?
It's all right.
Scott, did I just blow your ears out?
Yeah, that was it.
Sorry.
It's all right because I'm using my Mac, so I'm going through my Focusrite audio interface, Dan. So it's just blown my head off.
That's why. Why aren't you wearing your headphones then?
I didn't think of that.
I'm getting an
echo. Yeah, because I can hear myself. There you go. They're the same ones. You bought those on the same packet I did. I've got the same ones. They're good. Use them.
I'll see if it works.
Might stop getting reverb then.
Wicked. How are you, Shaun?
Hey, I'm all right. I'm sorry. I thought it'd be done by now, but we had some people around, so I had to.
You should have just said to them, it's a HighBrarians night. I don't know what's happened to Kyle.
Have you texted him?
Yeah, it's on the same group with the rest of us. How's that? Yeah, I think better. Let's see. Nobody signed. We're not signing anyone.
I've missed his hardcore Wexford in the Scorty accent, I must admit. So they brought back a lot of memories. I lived there for
I
13 years. You said that.
Yeah, and I was visiting before that. So it's a strong action there. Fair play.
I hadn't noticed. I thought he was a Cockney. I was like, "Wow, that's mad." It's like, now that you mentioned
Scott, you would say, "I'm sorry."
I picked up the twang. I pick up a slight twang in your accent as well. Is that Mansfield Road? I'm picking up the right side of Mansfield Road.
Scott's going to start doing the hacker at some point, isn't it? You want an accent? Here's a fucking hacker. Here's an accent.
Yeah. I tell you what. Well, Wednesday morning, my children went back to school, and my youngest girl, it was her first day at high school. And when you go in, because multicultural, out of all the, these places and that around here, Australia, that it's quite prominent in this country. And when we walk in, we have to do a thing like a greeting thing, which is a multicultural thing. And it takes about 2 hours, mate. And we like walk in and they're chanting and singing, and then we walk into a hacker, and then we sit down, then the front talk, then the back talk, and it takes nearly 2 hours, mate. It's beautiful, but far out. Wasn't
No, it's not beautiful. No, it's not beautiful. No.
I'd love us to do.
It's beautiful maybe once.
Can we start a campaign and get Arsenal to do a hacker before the Liverpool game? We tried everything else. Why?
I'll tell you what, though.
Maybe get the dog to charge at them, like.
Yeah.
But watching about 200 school lads do that hacker, it's quite powerful seeing it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'll take your word for that.
Yeah,
I think I'd watch the darts if it was on the channel over the darts.
I don't want to get onto egg chasing, but it's an interesting. It's an interesting
mute
thing.
You. Wait, this. Yeah. Can I mute you? Yeah, just the
I said I don't want to get onto
rugby. No,
I don't want to get onto egg chasing, but it's an interesting precedent where you allow one nation to do something that other nations aren't allowed to do. You know what I mean?
I've seen other Samoans do it, don't they?
But some are. So, when did you last time see the English doing some fucking Morris dancing before the match? You know what I mean? It doesn't happen.
I'm sure no one would stop them.
I would.
Morris
look, we've got. Oops,
yeah. Anyway,
so we've got some good nights to say. Football Dad's Army. Cheers, Lee. See you soon. And also, Talkers is also going to bed.
Oh, sure. I'm sorry to miss you.
That's when
I was late.
What have you done, Sean?
Yeah. It's like they were feeling fine until a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah,
what did you think of the game, Sean?
Bollocks.
What did you think of the game, Sean?
It was. I don't think it was a bad game.
But we didn't get enough points. It's not enough to get 3 points. We need 6 points.
The goal, we already texted a little bit about the goal. You know, it's a little bit of a pattern. The lofted ball over to our left wing, and it's almost like we've got a player back there. We're asking to play as a midfielder and left back, and sometimes he didn't get back quick enough. Yeah. And you can understand that.
I blame. Well, you talk about their goal. I think that is a rare moment of weakness from.
Just going to go get a drink, chaps, if you don't mind.
Yeah, do it. We were talking earlier. One of the things that I said, look, I'm not a tactician. I've never said I was, but when we are facing this kind of 10 men in the penalty area, the thing that sort of frustrates me from just watching it is why not just ping the ball in low on the ground and see where it goes like pinball. Because the worst thing is we seem to be worried about losing the ball in their area. And then at the same time, we're much better at scoring if they try and attack us and fail. So I would be saying, just doesn't matter if you lose the ball there. For fuck's sake, says just have a shot, ping it. And then to be fair, Jesus did just that. And Matt Turner in goal. Looks like we needed to let him go when we did. But it's that whole thing of you get what really, obviously I get really pissed off with a toxic brigade anyway, but you've got on the one hand them going, it's all about trophies. And on the other hand going, we didn't play well enough. You go, well, which one is it? Like we got the 3 points. You care about trophies. Trophies are a result of points.
Let's not try and rationalize the irrational. These are people who need negativity. That's what they get out of it, and for some reason they don't understand why we're not on the same train as them, and it's tedious as shit. Speaking of which, is that tool piece being on tonight or not?
No, I think he's gone. I think he got bored of himself. No, I miss him. I've got to be honest, because I was saying I did a thing at the beginning saying it's the 1 year anniversary of the launch of the channel. It's our birthday.
Well done.
And I always started, I don't so much anymore, but you always used to start every video with welcome to the Gooner. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gooner channel, a channel 100% dedicated to the Arsenal, who, as we all know, are by far the great. And he left the comment, best team the world has ever seen. Have you heard of Real Madrid, you mug? And I was like, wow. Because I thought one of my funniest points ever, most nuanced comebacks was, I always thought you were a real fan. Right? But I remember thinking, I've had to explain that so many times to people who obviously don't know a lot about English football or football in general or life. Because you go, one of the things I love most about football is the banter. We're being ironic. I don't really think Arsenal. I mean, if you put a gun to my head and said, who is the greatest team of all time? I'd go, what, in terms of actual football played? We've had some trophies. Real Madrid, they
it's Arsenal. No, it's Arsenal.
Yeah, we've won more European Cups up here. Of course. But what I was saying is, I've been to matches where Barnsley fans are singing that, Tottenham fans sing it. It would never occur to me.
And they've got their little sort of dicklet anus who says that as well. Every club's got a few of them. You've had that cancerous growth for a while, and it's done you quite a lot of good, actually.
I wouldn't put the success of the channel down to him, but
no, not entirely. But yeah, he's helped. He's helped by just raising the profile by being an anus, and everyone's got one, I'm sure, and several of them. And there you go. There are people who just thrive off negativity.
You'll like this because I said the other one was Big Kenny Kens, who said to me, you can only support one club. The fact that you support Bayern Munich in another country means you're a Bayern Munich fan. I was like, thank you, Big Kenny Kens. Another ID theft there because he's not the real Kenny Kens. You have no idea how important your opinion is to me. You saying I'm not allowed to.
You can't because you can't support two clubs according to the rules that I just made up.
You made them up, and it's what
two teams you support? Well, there's this one in Cambodia.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Okay, you can't support us anymore. You're not allowed.
You're Cambodian FC fan. But it's just it's the amusing thing about it, and you get a sense of their weirdness because they get so angry because nobody's doing what they say. So you go, Lee Gunner speaks facts, going, you are not allowed to say this. And he's constantly posting, don't watch this person's videos. The sweetest thing was he came on one of the videos this week and I did a field tilt representation on it because I'd never seen it before. Like it was like 97.5% field tilt. They didn't even enter our half. And I just thought that was remarkable, put it up. And it's about 3 minutes into the video and he commented on this mug's put up field tilt. And I just thought, bless, at least you've watched it.
Yeah, field tilt.
You've watched it. You've watched it. That's so sweet.
Well, at least he watched 3 minutes because that gives you the view click.
I'm like, I can't get over that because I've had people criticize me without watching the videos, and fine. Okay. I mean, I wonder if people do that when they're walking past the newsstand, see a headline and just shout at the newspaper. That's wrong. But fine.
It's
the currency of YouTube, whether we like it or not, is hate. You don't succeed by being loved by everybody.
And that's one of the better ones. I think Twitter's the worst. Or last I heard,
never go on it.
That's before it got demolished by that anus.
It's that now.
I was never on it in the first place.
Elon Musk controlled opposition.
Yeah, well,
is that what
Matt became the richest person in the world by running a loss-making company.
Sounds like the sort of thing you put on to attract women, doesn't it?
Yeah.
1980s after show. Yeah.
On Spice.
Drakkar Noir or Elon Musk.
Yeah.
There's no amount of Elon Musk that's enough Musk.
Okay. Just going back to that Palace game, though, it's like, how can we play and control the game so comfortably and then look such a mess in the last 10 minutes at the same time?
I don't think we.
I don't think we're that bad.
I think. No, I didn't.
No. But I meant it got a bit squeaky bum time near the end when they scored.
But, when doesn't it? I mean, these things can happen. My concern isn't our response to going 1-0 down. My response is the manner in which we went 1-0 down, which we
1-0 down.
Lofted ball to our left back position, and he neither challenged properly for it nor did he cover.
I see your comment on his Facebook post.
Do one or the other because when he's tired,
I thought that a lot. I thought one of the things that stood out.
I agree with it.
Boring game. It's boring watching. It was a training game, really. It looked like some sort of new variant of football where you play in one half. But there was a lot of missing head, and there's a lot of times where we win headers and head it back to them, and you think you're not being challenged. You've won a header that no one else is challenging. Chest it. Like that's a better way. thus gaining control of the spherical object, which you can then propel towards the opposing half. There's no point in me sort of tactically analysing the game. It's just not something I can do. All of us have an entitlement to watch a game and say how we felt. I felt really comfortable in the first half, but I was saying, Scott and I were talking about it earlier. Who do you bring on when you want to change things up? And the transfer window has just slammed shut.
Oh.
And apart from the last minute,
and we bought Osman.
The last minute, no, apparently we haven't.
Actually, we did.
Oh, did we?
We got Rashford.
Yeah, we've got Rashford, Osimhen, Mbappe, and Benzema. We've got 19 players in all. We've done a Nottingham Forest. We've shocked everyone. Arteta's out.
And after that, there'll be a 10-point deduction next season.
Yeah, we've had a 1 million point deduction, but everyone else has had 1,000,001 point deduction. So we're still second to City. I'm so angry.
There we go.
I'm actually happy again.
Yeah. Hey, did you see that? What's his name? Is it Runner? Can't say his name. Runner Harson.
Oh, he's gone. Runnerson. Yeah. This pisses me off because we signed him for 2 million. How do you not get 2 million for him? How are we the only idiots stumping up?
Yeah.
We had to cancel his contract.
We do a lot of terminating contracts, don't we?
It's like but I don't
mind losing 2 million. That's okay.
No, I don't mind it, but what bothers me is how desperate Copenhagen were to have him. And it seems like it went like this. We really, really want Ruderson. Oh, okay, yeah, how much do you want him for? Oh, no, we're not
just want
money. We just really want him. Oh, well, in that case, there's his contract. Bye, Alex. And it's like we've lost, we talked about this earlier, Lino Souza, gone. Ibrahim, gone. Aziz, gone. I was saying, and I think this is really funny, I'm going to do a video graphic of it. The scene where Anakin goes into the room full of younglings and they're all like, what's going on, Anakin? And he just turns on his lightsaber. That's Mikel Arteta walking into Hayland Academy, isn't it? It's just going, there will be no younglings at this club. Unless... And I think it's because he was at La Masia and he was basically not able to play for Barcelona. So now he's having his revenge on it. I, too, was a young graduate who didn't make it. Now you will have to go to Copenhagen if you want to play. They sold him to Villa, who've sent him to Plymouth on loan. Couldn't we have sent him to Plymouth on loan? What's wrong with that?
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Unless we got 100 million for him.
It's La Masia, by the way.
We were talking about that. It is a bit of an issue at the minute with our academy where we're not bringing any players through. And I really want to see it, I think it's very important for our club because, these young lads, they've been there for a long time. Their heart's in that club. And I think they deserve a chance, some of these lads, and we're just not giving it to them.
I think it's about reputation. We've got to think about what club are we?
In 4 years, that academy has not produced a single player. Burn it down. Get rid of it. It's not worth it. We're spending a fortune on it. We spend a fortune on Per Mertesacker and youth teams. And what's it for? Like, we don't promote anyone. Ainsley Maitland-Niles is playing in Hackney Wick, I think. I don't know where he's playing at the moment.
He's in France.
Yeah. If he'd stay with us, it'd be amazing. Yeah.
If he'd stayed with us and had a better attitude. But how are we producing no one in 4 years? Like, no one. And Kozia Dubry is amazing. He's a potential. He's getting on a bit now. And he won't sign a new contract until the summer. Raw Waters won't sign a new contract till the summer. If I was their agent or parent, no, of course not. If I was their parent, I'd be going, Newcastle were in for Joe Willock. We ummed about it. We let him go to Newcastle. He's had his injury problems, but he's been great at Newcastle. And we knew he would be. Like, he was a really good midfielder. Obviously didn't fit into our midfield. We're talking about signing young players all the time. We signed Jakob Kivior. Make it make sense. How is Jakob Kivior sort of 20 million from Spezia?
How is he any better than what we've got?
I don't think he necessarily is a better left back than Lino Souza was, because I don't think he's
a better centre back.
So you need a left back then. If you've played your centre back,
exactly.
So why is he now playing for Plymouth?
We're short on left back. We've got one left back in youth. You go, oh no.
Do you think
we have to sell him to go on?
Do you think when Timber's fit, Timber's going to play the inverted left back, and we might see?
No,
we
he's
might
a
see.
right back. He's a right back who can play left back.
But the 2 times we saw him, he played left back, didn't he?
Oh, we saw
He's
him
a
more than
right
twice.
back that's gonna free up Ben White to be a centre back when we need a centre back, or a right back when we need a centre. Ben White's going to be, in my opinion, when you establish Ben White's going to be relegated to the bench as someone who gets a lot of minutes but doesn't start that much. You know, he's going to be the right centre defender.
Hello?
You know,
Conjecture. None of us know.
I'm just on a live, mate.
I'd be surprised if he didn't spend more time on the left because we have more
Sorry.
cover on the right.
out of necessity, yeah. I don't think he was signed to be one. When it turned out that he could be one, that's a great bonus. Fantastic. Awesome. But when we signed Timber, we didn't
the only
sign
reason
him.
I'm saying it's conjecture is I didn't watch him play at Ajax. You didn't watch him play at Ajax. I've seen him play 2 games, 3 games, and I have no idea where he's going to play. But I do know that Arteta was asked about him, and it's unlikely we're going to see him until the end of March. And so I can wait, you know. Meanwhile, the window closed 6 minutes ago, and rather than bring in any defensive cover, we've gotten rid of 2 more defenders. And I just think there's a weird game going on here where we just go, still too many defenders, sell them all. You know, like what do you, Cedric is probably not leaving till the 9th of February.
Thank God.
No, he's still going. But he's going to Turkey, and their window doesn't close till the 9th of February. So he's going to be here.
What difference does it make? Because he wouldn't play anyway. It doesn't matter if he's not paid or not. He's not going to play.
I'd rather have him and not use him than not have anyone at all. Because I could see Ramsdale getting a game.
Which is the point about Sousa, right? Exactly the point about Sousa. Like I said in the text earlier on today, is Arteta saying that he's actually worse than nothing?
Yeah, he is. And Villa have sent him straight to Plymouth. So I get it when people are saying, look, he's not good enough for Arsenal. Yeah, but then he's good enough for Arsenal if we haven't got anyone else.
Exactly.
But I do think we should try Ramsdale at left back because I think that's the next Arteta genius. You know, like
did you just say Ramsdale at left back?
Yeah, definitely.
No, he meant Havertz.
Oh,
whereas after all, he's got international left back.
Havertz in goal.
Pedigree. He scored a goal from left.
He's tall.
He's 6'5".
We've not tried.
Exactly.
6'3".
That's what you want from a left back.
Yeah. No, I don't want him at left back. I want him in goal.
6'7".
What are you on about?
All your left backs need to be 6'12".
Yeah.
And
my daughter's here who's having a baby and that. I'm gonna love you and leave you if you don't mind.
All right, mate.
Do it.
Take care. Good to see you.
Apologies. But
if you could show us after she's given birth, like in a few minutes, you could show us the baby live, exclusive.
She ain't that close yet.
You never said.
No.
But in that case, you can't go.
No. I'll speak to you guys next week, eh?
See you next week, mate. And all the best.
So before I go, I told you, haven't I? I think we're going to lose 2-0.
Oh, nice.
That's toxically positive.
Yeah, I just leave that bit of positivity with you guys before I
go. I'll go and get a glass of wine.
I knew that'd send you to the wine bottle.
I'll hold it. Doesn't take
right,
much,
I'm going now, Dan. It's all on you.
I prefer it that way.
Yeah, sod you. It's your channel anyway.
Exactly.
Hey, speak to you next week, mate.
See you next week, mate.
Cheers, yeah, and good and well done on your year, mate. And let's get you up to 1,000 and get that revenue coming in.
Well, it'll take a bit more than that, but
yes. like Del Boy says, this time next year we'll be millionaires. I'll see you later.
See you later, mate.
Cheers.
And here we are, as I've already mentioned, although we haven't discussed it nearly as much as I expected to. We have not signed anyone in the transfer window, and I think that's a great move. That'll catch out Man City with their massive bench full of superstars. Have that. We have an empty bench.
I don't mind it. I
do. I mind it.
If they weren't available, they weren't available. My concern is the outgoing, not the incoming.
I mind it because I can't make that statement make sense. We knew in September, I was like, okay, in September, if we're really not bringing anyone in, we must either trust the young players or we're just holding on till January because Timber may be fit. And then January comes, and not only do we not buy anyone, we go, oh, hang on, we do have one remaining cover, and Arteta went, well, sell him. I like to do it without cover. I'm like a bareback manager. Let's just go. Let's just play. Sit in my pants. You know, it's just how skint are we that we've got to get Sousa out?
We're not skint. We're not skint. So
I think there is an element, and I haven't talked about this yet, but I'll see what you think of this. There is a worry. There's a slight concern. I think the Cronkies have backed Arteta as much as anyone could have. Right? They've hugely backed him, but this time out, it feels like they haven't got the confidence with definitely making the Champions League. And if you looked at it, a business decision, if you spent any money now and you don't make the Champions League, you're going to have to sell a marquee player. So maybe this is just them saying, well, we don't know where we're going to be yet. We're definitely not going to win the league, but we might finish 5th. And actually this year, 5th might be enough to win you, to qualify you for the Champions League, but I don't know. I haven't looked into the coefficient enough. Man United, Newcastle let us down a bit. All things considered, I can't enjoy a transfer window where young players who, look, let's be real. I don't think Lionel Sousa was going to be the next Ashley Cole. He went to Dubai with the team and he was surplus to requirements. So I don't think he's going to set the world on fire at Plymouth and we'll all regret it. But I do feel like we're not making any money out of the players we sell out of the academy, and we're not using them. And so, what's the point of it? What is the point of having an academy if you never ever? I mean, today Kobe Mino scored the winner for Man United, product of the academy. Yesterday, Liverpool's fullback scored, outstanding.
David goal, yeah.
Man City were playing. What's his name? I've forgotten his name now. The young left back / plays anywhere he wants, Rico Lewis. Everyone's promoting youngsters. Well, I say everyone. Klopp and Guardiola are much better at this than Arteta, and it must be
far.
It must be, but so far is 4 years. It's not.
Well, at the same time, even though Emery promoted, some of the big names that are playing in our team now. That has continued with Arteta. It's not like they were established seasoned generals when Arteta took over. He was still throwing in with the youth at the time.
There's 3 players you're talking about, Sean. You're talking about Saka, who he absolutely has played to death. So there's no question he rates him. Martinelli, who he really, really didn't play because of Willian for a very long time. And it was only when he had to concede defeat and brought Emil Smith-Rowe in. And Emil Smith-Rowe played really well, but you can't say he's been brilliant for Emil Smith-Rowe in the last 2 years. So who is the player you're talking about that was promoted to the youth team by Emery that Arteta has kept hold of? He signed some young players.
I'm not. I'm talking about another young player. I'm talking about Odegaard. Who considering 23. Where he plays and the role he plays, is a big deal. Hey, sorry, I got a visitor. Hey, you gone? All right, cheers, mate. I don't know this anymore.
No, sorry to hear that. So I don't think anyone is going to say that Arteta has done enough with the youth.
But he's got young players. That doesn't necessarily argue that point.
We're talking about academy. We're not talking about Martin Odegaard, 23 years old, signing Declan Rice is 24.
Yeah, I do agree. But it's not like, Ancelotti, he's not like someone who, if you're under 30, then you can fuck off. There is nuance there. There is a certain amount of enough encouragement to think that there's something going on. What concerns me is that we are a team in transition, and someone like Cedric, someone like whoever is behind Zinchenko is either so weak or so non-existent. You think this is an opportunity when you're forced to play your youth, and I'm sure this is where you're with me on that point and go, well, you're in that position where you have to play them, so play them. We're that position. We're in that below the top elite of Europe where we can just still get away with it, and yet people who are above us in our status are doing it and we're not, and it's a concern for me too. It really is. Either our belief on our academy graduates is bogus, or we have a manager who's got a bit of a fucking issue. And the jury's out. We're not there yet. And I'm not loving the way it's looking at the moment, but I'm not ready to drop the gavel either.
Well, you can't drop a gavel. I'm not seriously saying we should burn down Hale End. I'm saying that in a normal situation where you spend the money that we spend on that team of young players, and we go out and we spend decent money on wages on players like Nwaneri, and you never find any game time for them at all. Per Mertesacker is overseeing that. I'm sure that they must sit down and have breakfast occasionally, and Per goes, we've got some, I should have mentioned this to you, we've got some players back here that you might want to take a look at. And Arteta says, not for me, thanks. I'm not. At a certain point, 4 years of not developing any young players, not even to the extent where you do what Man City did with Cole Palmer, play him a little bit and then flog him for 40 million. We're not making any money. We're not promoting any youth team to the first team. So if we suddenly lost Hale End overnight, the next 4 years, I don't think you'd notice, because we haven't steadily relied on them and we're not making the most of them. There are players in that academy who some of us feel are very bright prospects indeed. For 2 years, those of us who have been watching and paying attention to the youth team have felt and regarded Sousa quite highly. I've heard people say things like, he is the perfect modern fullback. Now, I don't think he necessarily is. And if he was, he probably wouldn't be going to Plymouth Argyle. So straight out of the gate, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying not one player. Man United are an absolute farce of a team. They're a shambles, but they produced Kobe Mainu and a few others.
Well, when we were a faster team, we produced ours as well. My argument is that we're not that far.
We've never been as bad as Man United in the last 20 years. We haven't been as bad as Man United.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that we're not so far out of the woods after having emerged and finished second last season. We're not so far out of the woods where we can just rely on this experienced first team. So I am a little bit mystified, especially considering the injury problems we always have, that we haven't had a few players making a few things. There's something other than the Champions League, which doesn't count, right? Is he still with us? You've actually left us and you started commenting.
He might have someone else commenting for him. I know Lee Gunner likes to send people out, so maybe this isn't the real Scott. Maybe this is Scott Kirk speaks facts.
Scott, what is the matter with you?
Stop chasing away our viewers as well, by the way.
We're close to agreeing. I'm just hoping for a little bit of understanding that it's that we're going to see something.
We're running out of people to see it from, though, because Ibrahim was the captain of that Youth Cup time, and he's gone. I have a horrible feeling, although I had a horrible feeling about Nwaneri, and that proved to be wrong. But Kozia Dubry won't commit himself to the club until this summer. If that isn't a signal to say, if I don't get any game time at all, you're not. Patino wants to leave. He was
supposed to leave like 2 seasons ago.
No, it was last season he wanted to leave. It was this summer he was supposed to leave. He went on loan to Blackpool 2 seasons ago, and he did quite well for the first half of the season. And don't get me wrong.
I heard he was hanging by a thread, to be honest. But, I want to see him.
He was one of our brightest players.
Coming on,
when we played, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
When we played, I'm addressing the point you made. You said he was hanging by a thread. He was starting in the FA Cup when we played at Forest, that first season where we played in the surrender kit. He was supposed to be, arguably, the brightest talent at the Hale End. He went on loan to Blackpool, and after a really positive first half of the season, it went slightly wrong for him. But he was the one who said he didn't want to go out on loan again. He wants to leave the club permanently. And we didn't apparently want that to happen, but then no one came in for him. So there's 2 arguments it's possible to have at once here. One saying if he was that good, someone would have snapped him up. And 2 saying players, you don't know how good they are till you throw them in. And Wenger at least used to throw some players in. You know how young Fabregas was, and how young Ramsey and Wilshere were, and I think we're in danger of going completely the other way under Arteta, because there's just no one coming through. And yes, Saka is as much a product of Arteta as anyone, but it was Unai Emery that played him, and Emil Smith-Rowe, it was Unai Emery that played him, and so I just think this is a huge flag for me, because I'm sure they're talking to him about it. And I'm sure it's not even just Arteta that gets to decide. For all I know, I'm blaming Arteta for not promoting the youth team, and it might be Per Mertesacker saying they're not good enough. You know, they might not be strong enough.
It's important that you mention everyone. You know, everyone's talking about Edu and this and the other. I think the reason why we're on the right track at the moment is because we've got a team with gels that are pushing in the same direction. You ever look at someone like, you know, Chelsea, they've got money for everything, and they're not, you know, and we for a while weren't either, you know, we were in the wrong direction, and we are up against some stiff fucking competition. People forget that pretty quickly. We're against people who have got more resources than we do, and they just as badly, or if not more, want to win than we do. So we just get over that whole desire thing. We have got Mertesacker, we've got Arteta, we've got Edu, 3 people that have played for us, and they are doing their little thing. The issue that I have only is that I want the fans and Arteta to remember what we are, and that is that we are a team, the last team up, you know, up the scale that can, I think, get away with blooding youngsters, because Barcelona can't do that until they're already world beaters. Real Madrid can't do that.
That's a terrible example, because Barcelona consistently, I mean, who's this? I can't pronounce his name. He's 16, 17. Barcelona throwing him in. I think Real Madrid, you were more close to the money with Real Madrid. I think it's partly driven by finances, but you get money for players when you play them, and we're not playing them, and doesn't look like we're going to play them this season. I don't see a natural play. I don't think Cozy Dubry is coming on in the home game against Porto. When I look at a game like Nottingham Forest, I think if you don't even trust Nelson in this game, why not? You know, I get it. You need someone on the bench, but if Nelson's not coming on, Cedric's definitely not coming on, and no one wants to see him come on. El Neni's at the African Cup of Nations, although he's got to be home now because Egypt are out, aren't they? There's 3 or 4 players I just don't think are ever going to play. And then beyond that, you've got youth players who aren't even making the bench. And, you know, you've said it. We've been discussing this for a while, and you've said, oh, you know, they're still quite young. I think that Miles Lewis-Skelly's too young. But Pep might have played him by now. Or what is going on?
If we're winning every game, it wouldn't bother me. But we're not. And you know, with a great player that we got, we can draw and lose against Fulham in one season with what is not far off a full squad. So I say, why not? You know, play Sousa at left back. Fuck it. Let's see what he can do. You're worried about what he can't do that Zinchenko can do go forward. Or maybe perhaps he can't do the same things that Zinchenko can't do.
Lino Sousa was one of the people. Lino Sousa came before Zinchenko, and one of the things people said about him when he came from West Brom was that he plays that inverted fullback. He never got a game. So, you know, Arteta's taken a really good look at Sousa, and like we always say, he knows more about football than I ever will. If he doesn't rate him, he doesn't rate him. I'm not sure he doesn't rate Cozy Dubry. He made him the youngest ever Premier League player. Get that. There's obviously some belief there. Miles Lewis-Skelly is still too young. Charlie Patino doesn't look like he's quite at the level we are. And you can go through it like this. Ibrahim, although he was a captain, it didn't look like he was going to break in. Raul Walters, they were talking about last season that he'll get game time. He hasn't yet, but he might still. Charles Sago Jr. has gone off on loan. I think that's good to get a look at him playing regularly. I don't think he's the one for me, but he's the one who was in best form 3 or 4 months ago. There are players all the way through the academy that we hear a lot about, we see playing really well, and the idea that not one of them can make it. And if you're saying, oh, they might still make it, yeah, some of these kids are 19. That's getting there now. That is older.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Yeah, 16 is young now. I agree with you. I really, really, really agree with you. I mean, looking at mitigation, it's, you've got that many games, not so much this season I would say, but that many games in the La Liga where aren't so challenging. Don't give a shit. I don't care. As far as I'm concerned, a club like Arsenal cannot compete with Man City, Man United, Chelsea with regards to wages and signings. So we have to find another way, and the other way has got to be playing, working in the youth and playing them. I'm with you 100% on that one. I will play devil's advocate on it, on a case by case, but I 100% agree with you. I believe that's our role. That's our DNA, if you like. We've got to do it because we don't have an oil baron, propping us up. So it should happen. It should happen. And I'm disappointed every time it doesn't happen. Look, we got Emil Smith-Rowe starting. That's great to see. He's taking his time, but it has happened. I thought he played quite well.
Yeah. I mean, I think it would have been great if I think he showed a lot of vision with his passing. I think he's very dynamic in the sense that he's always looking forwards. And I just love him. So I'm utterly biased. I can't help it. I can't.
He wasn't a liability. Let's start with that.
Nah, he wasn't.
He wasn't thrown in, and he didn't make a dick of himself. So we'll start with that. So that's covered.
And he played better. And I know it's not fair to, because Havertz came on. He played better than Havertz did, and I'll give Arteta credit for he in his press conference before the game he talked about how Emil had been knocking on his door with his performances in training. He likes him so much, and you go, right, after that eulogy, you have to play him, and he did. And so there's some consistency there, and I think by and large there is, not that it needs saying by either of us, but we are hugely supportive of what's happening at the club, and it's unlikely that you're ever going to be 100% happy with everything going on at the club. There was a sort of golden period under Arsene Wenger where everything was brilliant, and then that's not natural, that's not normal, and that's not something you should expect from your football club. At the moment, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. I love the progress. I love the direction. I love the style of football. I love the identity. I like the harmony between the fans. I like the fact that we're all buoyant, that we're taken seriously as a title contender, that we're one of only 2 English clubs still in the Champions League, that we've got a really good prospect to get to the quarterfinal, that we came second last season with a team that wasn't expected to finish in the top 4, that we got Declan Rice when no one else could get him. We've signed Yuri and Timber. I think apart from all the noise where people say, oh, you signed Raya and you shouldn't, last season, every team wanted him. Man United wanted him. Tottenham wanted him. He came to Arsenal. As soon as he comes to Arsenal, it's like, oh, he's rubbish. Shouldn't have signed him. You can't have 2 keepers. Brighton have 2 keepers. Yeah, but De Zerbi's a genius. You can't win, and I get that. I'm 7 out of 10 for me.
It sounds like a 9 to me. All the arguments you give, it sounds like a 9.
Well, the problem I have in giving it a 9, and I could settle on an 8. The problem I have on giving him a 9 out of 10 is I do worry that his relative inexperience causes him to hesitate at crunch times and make mistakes. And I'm happy for him to make a mistake. I think he has plenty of room to move into. He isn't as experienced as Alex Ferguson when he took over. Like, for me, if it was on me, I'd say give him another 4 years and see what happens, right? And if in 4 years' time we've stepped backwards, or if we haven't gotten to where we want to, then this has to end. Until then, I think he's doing well enough to be in the job. But if you'd never promote a youth player, there are decisions that I don't really get, which is not it's not necessarily criticism. Maybe that's because I just don't understand football well enough. But Eddie Nketiah, I don't look at our bench right now and think, you've had 4 years. The best you can do on that bench is Eddie Nketiah, and he's not cheap to us. I mean, he's still costing us a good salary. He's paid Kai Havertz quite a lot of money. And I think that some of the mistakes he's made with Kai Havertz hasn't been signing him. I'm not saying I think it was a mistake to sign him, but I think he's put a lot of pressure on that young lad by overplaying him when he could have dropped him a while ago and just gotten people used to the idea. I don't think he should react to the fan base. I think that's a huge mistake when the leader of the club...
I don't think he does.
No, I'm sure he doesn't. And that's why he's a 7, 8 out of 10 rather than a 4. Because the minute a manager starts listening to the fan base, you might just have a vote, right? We just have a vote every Saturday and we all pick who goes in and who they pass the ball and all that shit. No, I like the dictatorship of a good manager because committees don't win football leagues, that's the truth. So I get it, but 7 out of 10, maybe that's unfair. Maybe it's just because it's deadline day and it's another pissy transfer window.
I think it's a very positive transfer day because there's no panic on it. I'm with you. I want another defender like yesterday. I really do, but I think he's got the bollocks to say, if he's not the right player, I'm not going to go for him. Now, I do have an issue with the youth thing, and I'm with you on that one. I really am. I'm 100% with you on that one. You say, listen, I don't give a fucking shit if he's not ready or not. That's how you get ready, So that's how you get ready. He's not there, and you're going to play someone out of position, or you're going to play this, that, and the other, and it's going to go all bollocks. I think everyone knows that Zinks has got 60 minutes in it, right?
I don't know that. I'm not saying you're wrong.
He gets tired. He gets a lofted ball. He's half-hearted little jump, and someone goes around him. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I think I have to go and look at that goal again. It wasn't something that I really noticed, if I'm honest. I don't disagree with what you're saying in principle, but I think that I'm so used to people giving Zinchenko shit for not being able to defend, and it doesn't tally with what I see of him. I think he defends pretty damn well, but that he's out of position.
That's an absolute football fans black and white argument. Let's talk nuance for a second. He is very good at defending in lots of ways, but he's not very good on one-on-one defending. We saw it with Salah, against top quality. When he's not very good at jumping the air, tracking back. He's not very good.
He's definitely not good at headers. I'm sick of seeing him even try them, to be honest.
Yeah, and that ends up compromising him afterwards. Now, actually, that goal, annoyingly enough, that goal that we conceded was actually a really well-crafted goal. And, we blame on him because perhaps if Tommy had been there, he would have just headed it for a corner or God knows what. He would have done something. But his decision-making in those situations doesn't seem to take into account that he's not very good at defending in those situations. That's what we need to learn. We need to learn. So, okay, you are like me. I'd have to take into account how shit I am at everything in football if I played football. And I'd adapt very quickly.
By not playing football.
But yeah, I'd start with that. Yeah. I'd get the gloves. I'd get the gloves on. So I did it when I was at school.
I wouldn't even get the gloves on. I'd be the physio.
Well, you were better.
If five-a-side, I'm the physio.
I was always a keeper. So, and I flattered to see for a little while as a keeper, but he isn't good in those situations. So fair enough. Get used to it. Don't pretend it's not the case. Just adapt to it. You know what I mean? And likewise, Gabriel, adapt to the fact that that your left back is basically a midfielder. Thank you. I know you got a lot on, but do it. Thank you very much. Right? That's how it is. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because when I watched that game, I was fixated on the fact that Saliba, who's normally so commanding,
he had a bad game. He had a bad game.
He did have a bad game. He does have. He's not having a great season compared to last season.
No.
But at the same time, I look at it as more of a pragmatist, and I go, if we're not conceding many goals, they're doing all right.
Don't forget the Haaland moment. That was this season.
Which was that?
when he flattened it. It was like, remember through ball, he went there, they converged, and Haaland was on the ball. And,
Oh
and
yeah,
no,
okay.
you know,
I sort of vaguely remember that. I'd have to.
that was just, I'm still in love with that mate.
I mean, I'll never
show.
forget Kolo Toure for that. You know, when he used to run and people used to run off him and just bounce off him and go, "What was that?" Like, oh, a man has just flown off me. That's a.
Yeah.
I'm made of solid metal. Don't even bother. I think your point is really well observed about Gabriel, because there's times where you think that, you know, should Zinchenko be trying to win a header? Like, I mean, making a header isn't ever going to be. But I found it really fascinating that that's where I tell you what, the goal against Villa. When you watch that goal against Villa, people straight away, Zinchenko, and you go, actually, I would blame Tomiyasu, Gabriel, and Saliba before I blame Zinchenko for that one. I don't think any of them covered themselves in glory, but Ben White runs right past John McGinn because he doesn't realise that John McGinn stopped. That can happen. All of these things can happen. You know, I mean,
he just lobbed it up in the air, right?
Well, what happens is he shoots past Ray. He turns on the ball. And
that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but we have the pantomime villain in Zinchenko. People don't like Zinchenko. If something happens on the pitch, it's Zinchenko's fault.
I don't think that goal had anything to do with Zinchenko, actually, but fair enough.
What, the goal against Forest or the goal against Aston Villa?
The McGinn, that McGinn thing.
The only thing I will say is the ball gets lost and Zinchenko kind of runs to track, and he is also drawn to the byline, and he does neither thing well, but I think we can all accept that these are professional athletes, top of their game, train hard all week, keep themselves in great shape, but on the day you can make a mistake. That's what great football is, isn't it? It's one bloke turns and you turn the wrong way and he leaves you on your ass, and that's what
it can happen. My concern about Zinchenko is that he's presumably defending in this training pitch against Saka, a left-footed right winger. And then when we played against Liverpool, he had that lofted ball. He didn't stop him getting it, and he let him inside and fucking moved it in. It was so easy. And I thought, that must happen to you all the time, though, surely. I mean, Saka must do that to you all the time, because Saka, you have to change the letter, right?
That's your strongest argument, yeah. It's 2 letters, isn't it? Well, you have to add a letter, rather. So, leaving because at the end of it, obviously, Arteta managed to quieten the situation down publicly, almost in the centre circle. It's a great place to sort out your business, isn't it? The whole, look at me, everyone. I'm fixing the situation. That's great.
Yeah, what do you make of that? I looked into a little bit.
I didn't see the.
No, did I?
It's one of those games where, when Scott was saying earlier, it was a bit scary at the end. It wasn't. I was on my phone. I was like, I know we're going to win this. Yeah, fine. We're 2-1. That'll do it. Sick because I had 2-0. But what are you going to do? I've got to lose the occasional bet. Otherwise, the bookmakers would give in, wouldn't they? I personally wasn't worried. And I missed the apparent altercation between Ben White and Zinchenko.
Me too, yeah, me too.
And I would guess, although I really like Ben White, I just want to say that for the record, because what I'm about to say makes it sound like I really don't. But I could quite easily see how in any 25-strong group of men, he's the one you'd probably most often want to slap. He does have that kind of. He does have that kind of.
He's English for a start. Arsey, bit this and that. You can see it, and we like that about him. We admire that about him, and that's the yang to his yin, right? We had that in
yang.
Your mum's yang. We had that with Xhaka, and we had a love-hate relationship. Yeah, we love it. Get stuck in. It's great. Oh, what do you do that with Agdan? He cost us the game. What a wanker.
I've never really had a love-hate with Ben White. I've always just rated him. But
he's obviously a bit arsey, like most English footballers.
But Zinchenko is high-strung, and Ben White's obviously a bit moody. So at a
I
certain
think
point,
Zinchenko is conceited, and Ben White
I think
is a little bit emotional.
I think Zinchenko displays all the signs of somebody who's dealing with some emotional turmoil, and I think he's had a hell of a last couple of years, and I think he's a little bit. He could do with a bit of a break. It's just COD psychology and body language, non-expert body language, whatever. But I think sometimes some of the players seem more. I think for me, there was a turning point in Zinchenko's story at Arsenal when he tried to get everyone together in that huddle. And that's the first time he became a bit of a tragicomic. Yeah. He did. He became a bit tragicomic at that point, and I don't think he's fully recovered from it. And of course, all of these players who don't win leagues aren't taking that next step up. Look, if we win the league, then Zinchenko will be one of the best left backs that ever lived, and Ben White will be a titan, and he'll go down in history. It's just that's how it works. People forget that doesn't matter how good George Foreman was. George Foreman in his prime was an absolute colossus of boxing. He was lethal. People really thought he might kill Ali. When Ali beats Foreman, Foreman is then relegated to, well, he's not that good. Whereas the truth is, as you said earlier, it's far more nuanced. There isn't black and white. There is winning and there's losing. And it isn't
I read
always...
an interview by Foreman very recently. And he said everyone was scared of Ali. They weren't scared of Foreman. They were scared of Ali. And so that's why he went out so hard. Ali's actual image made Foreman go out too strong. Which ended up.
I think there was a little bit of speech play, but I think we're getting too detailed into the boxing. What I'm saying is that Muhammad Ali was and arguably, well, time made him the sportsman of the century. Many people, I think, would agree with that. It is a terrible shame for you if you happen to be someone as good as Sonny Liston or George Foreman in an era where Ali exists. It is a terrible shame if you happen to be Arteta in a Pep Guardiola time, because whatever I thought at the start of the season about his lack of motivation, I was purely wrong. This is a man who eats. I mean, when Jurgen Klopp gave his interview talking about how it takes a lot out of you, part of that is trying to keep up with Pep Guardiola, who's not normal. By any stretch of the imagination, and his drive is unparalleled. Many managers, apart from maybe Ferguson, who I think shared that drive, would have probably not had the energy to sustain what could become the first time anyone's won 4 Premier Leagues in a row. So it's just, if Pep Guardiola had left at the start of the season and Man City were in a bit of disarray and we were toe-to-toe with Klopp, I think we could do it. I think we might have it. We proved last season that we can beat Klopp. I think we could do it. But this season, De Bruyne's back and he looks amazing again. Guardiola has the team and he has the bench and he has, he can let Calvin Phillips go, the player he paid 50 million for, and no one thinks they're weaker as a result of it. He's brought in Gvardiol and Doku and players who do just hit the ground running, even though his system is as difficult to learn and establish as Arteta's. It might be true that Guardiola leaves in the next year. He's only contracted for another year after this summer. If he leaves and Arteta wins the league then. And then all these players, the Ben Whites, the Zinchenkos, the Kai Havertz, will change. Their status will change, not because they've changed or the way they play football has changed, but because that's the narrative people like. Winners are winners. We need winners. And you go, winner's just somebody who's won something. That's all it is. We've got Kalando Brown. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. We can surely beat Klopp. Guys, got to just believe. 100%. Of course we can. I have no doubt we can beat Liverpool. I just don't know if we will or not.
They're doing awfully well. They're we struggle against Chelsea. We got a draw.
That's different. That they played Chelsea at home. We played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
But they fucking hurt them.
Chelsea got that fluky goal that I tell you what, how you know Mudryk didn't mean to do that is because he hasn't done it since. Oh, do it again then, yeah?
He's brilliant.
Prick.
I bet he doesn't regret that decision at all. Like, fuck. I mean, when he gets the ball in open play, he looks dangerous, but the team's so crap. And what's he going to do with it?
I don't know. I haven't seen Mudryk look dangerous. I've seen him. There's a few players like that, Anthony Mudryk, where I hate to say it, but there are a couple of players, and his name totally escapes me. The Japanese kid at Brighton, who he's another.
Oh yeah, begins with M. Yeah. Oh bloody hell, what's his name?
God, I'm gonna have to look him up because he drives me absolutely. And Man City was supposed to be in for him in summer.
Yeah, they said in the summer. Yeah.
No, you don't want him. You want Cozy Dewberry. I don't want to buy him off us. At least sell somebody for some money, will you please? Oh, Mitoma.
Mitoma. I haven't heard much about him this season, but the early season he was all right. But I haven't heard much about him since.
Oh, he's a great player, but no end product. I don't think he's contributed an assist since September. So it kind of says it all, really, doesn't it? I definitely think we can beat Liverpool. I'm not even sure why people are so worried about it, because the last time they came to the Emirates, we did play much better than them.
Yeah, and we clung on to a draw.
And we were looking tired. And
they've got some belief. They do have a great manager. What's amazing is how well they're playing. Without that whole midfield from last season and without their best player.
Crazy. I mean, they let 5 midfielders go. 5. I mean, but none. And it's also mad because I think Szoboszlai looks great, and I'm really pleased to see McAllister. I liked him at Brighton. But none of them look outstanding. It's just that it's somehow working,
Endo played great against us. And of course, let's not forget they lost Firmino, who used to yet another fucking Liverpool forward who used to score against us for fun. A long line. And,
I mean, if you look at the players they have lost over the last 2 or 3 years, it is a pretty formidable bunch.
He didn't score against anyone else. I mean, it wasn't Robbie Fowler who used to. Yeah, he scored like hat-trick against us, but he's also scored against other people. Firmino scored almost nothing against anyone else, but he'd always score against us.
I think that's an exaggeration.
No, he didn't actually score any goals. He never did. No,
he just never scored one, did he?
No, he scored very few. But he consistently scored against us. Yeah.
Yes, he was a bit of a bogey player, if you could call it that.
He was the blunt point of the arrow, for them.
I think
but for us,
it's going to be interesting to me to see what level of control we can exert in the midfield. Who he starts? Does he go back to Havertz? Does he play Emil Smith-Rowe, or does he go for a Jorginho, Declan Rice? Winning that midfield battle, I think it's eminently winnable for us. But you talk about 2 great tacticians. Arteta may overthink it. It is a little bit. You know what? When you look at football, it isn't fair, is it? I mean, imagine this is true of anyone, but you're Arteta. You can't buy experience. He's learnt a lot in 4 years. You've definitely seen him come on.
Let me cut across you there. Like you want to play Jorginho and Rice midfield. Who plays where?
If I was playing, I probably wouldn't play Jorginho and Declan Rice. But if I was going to play Jorginho and Declan Rice, I would play Declan Rice as 6 and Jorginho as I play a double pivot basically. That's why I wouldn't do it. I would have Rice probably going forward on the left and Jorginho tucked in on the back of the right, more sort of Thomas Partey.
So you're talking about Rice as a provisional 8 then?
Not really. But this is why I wouldn't play against Liverpool. I actually think, for me, I would put Emil Smith-Rowe, Declan Rice, and Odegaard in that midfield, and I would have the instruction to Emil Smith-Rowe would be, when you get the ball, don't be scared to run with it, because I think Konate and Virgil van Dijk versus Gabriel and Saliba, you're talking about one of those 2 pairings is the best in the Premier League. And I don't think any defender likes to have a player like Emil Smith-Rowe running at them. And
no, with the other defender, who I didn't even know before, shame on me, Liverpool, he's looking awfully good. He's looking like a really, really good player. But you've got to find some way of drawing them out. I mean, gives Jesus a little bit of space to perform in. I could see Emil Smith Rowe potentially in the right circumstances doing that. No, for me, he would be starting.
I suppose one advantage if you did play Jorginho and Declan Rice and had them sit back a little bit is it would probably encourage Liverpool onto you. I don't know. I'm torn. I think the first half we played in the FA Cup against them, I think that was pretty much how I want us to play on Sunday. We went at them.
If I played them both, I'd want no matter what we play with Rice, I want him at 6. If Jorginho is great at fucking through balls, which I've seen he is, I want him at 8.
He is, yeah.
I don't want him at 6. I want Rice at 6. Rice is comfortable at 6. He's good at intercepting, good at tackling, this, that, and the other. I don't want him pushing forward and then becoming a striker. Or he's not a through ball player as far as I can see. I'm sure he can, but he doesn't do it. So I think where he's best at 6.
Well, let's talk about it. I mean, I think the great thing about being an Arsenal fan is you haven't got to have a long conversation about who you play in defence because you play your defenders in defence.
Your 4 defenders.
Yeah, you got 4 defenders and Cedric. Yeah. Who are you playing? Well, I thought I might try. Yeah, so we know who's playing in the back 4.
No, Cedric and goalkeeper.
The goalkeeper situation is, I find that's probably the most interesting and the quickest way to identify someone as a moron. Well, he's unstabilised everything by bringing David Raya. That and the Higgs boson being discovered in CERN, that's caused a rip in the space-time continuum. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's brought in a goalkeeper. He replaced Matt Turner, which I think was a good move, with a better goalkeeper. And when Roberto De Zerbi plays Sabugan, there isn't a massive like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, I kind of, this is something that managers do. And the thing that I keep hearing from pundits who don't watch a lot of Arsenal clearly is saying, I really don't think that Raya is that much better than Ramsdale. So you can see they're about the same level.
How much better?
So it doesn't matter. If they're about the same, why are we always asked about who plays? They're about as good as each other. No one's seriously going, Ramsdale's miles better than Raya. So it doesn't matter to me which one of them plays. And if we're all upset about how Ramsdale feels about it, I don't know. I'm not.
Why can't they, when the subject comes up, why can't you talk about Crystal Palace? Where he, assisted the assist.
Oh, man, yeah, exactly. I have to say, there have been performances. I am properly on the fence. I like Ramsdale as a person. And I saw some of his great saves last season. I thought, I love that. And Raya doesn't really do that. But against Palace, he assisted the assist. And on Tuesday night, he was in the centre circle. And I don't think Ramsdale does that. And I think that one move is a sign of why Arteta likes him, because he will do those brave things.
Exactly that.
And frankly,
what he did even against Liverpool last season, that shouldn't have kept saying, but he did. It was an amazing performance, and he really good one. Really.
You can't quite faint on the old headphones. Are you having a piss or something? Don't say yes if you are. And while Shaun has his poo, it's going to be booze related, isn't it? He's a demon for the booze. Not well, no. It's nice. It's not the worst in the world. Yeah. Although I just realised there's airtime. So I'm going to go with my lineup. Shaun could give you his when he's back. I would be starting Ramsdale in goal just because Ramsdale, why not? He made some brilliant saves in the game against Liverpool last season. I think he's fun. And I don't expect that we're not going to dominate Liverpool, and I don't expect either of our keepers to be in the centre circle for this game. So it's going to be Ramsdale with Ben White. Like I said earlier, our defenders, we only have 5 defenders, and I'm not playing Cedric, so that's the back 4 sorted. In midfield, Odegaard does start because he's captain, and I really like him, even though I didn't really like him against Forest. And then I would put Rice in at 6, Emil Smith-Rowe. Easy, isn't it? Easy to get. We can unite the Arsenal fan base on Emil Smith-Rowe. Everyone loves him, even if he doesn't play great. And then up front, I think it's Martinelli. I think it's Saka. And I think it's Jesus. But don't worry, we've got Eddie on the bench. So if we're 5-0 up and we want to stay 5-0 up, we just bring on Eddie.
I think he's going to start Havertz at 8, and I think he's going to have Emil Smith-Rowe for impact sub. He's going to have Nketiah impact sub, and he's going to have
impact sub. Eddie Nketiah impact sub. What impact is that? It's like
that's the theory, not my theory.
It's not anyone's theory. I don't even think.
Yeah.
Although Eddie did throw himself about a bit when he came. The real difficulty I have, and I don't know how fans like Lee Gunner Speaks Facts deal with this, is I have trouble criticising any of our players, even Fabio Vieira, even Cedric, even Nketiah. I kind of feel I like them a lot, but I just don't like watching them play football. And that's unfortunately.
Well, you're right. You're right to have issues criticising, because at the end of the day, your issue with Lee Gunner Speaks Facts, who's clearly the sort of simian, is that
that's harsh.
They
have trained some simians to perform basic skills.
By being the way he is, he, in my opinion, it makes our prospects as a club lesser than they would be if he'd just shut up and stayed on his inflatable couch and played whatever the fuck it is he plays. And that's my issue. So what is it you want to achieve? I personally don't believe these people either think about that, or if they do, they actually want to have this horrible dark black hole of whatever it is, of failure, because then they'd be right. They'll be right in their negativity. And it's a massive issue for me. We'll talk about it another time, I'm sure. Ultimately, what is it doing for you trying to cause a manager who will never listen to you, nor should he ever, to make a decision on dropping someone, getting rid of someone, changing a tactic, this, that, and the other? You have to understand that you've picked a team. This is your team. You've got to back them to the hill. You don't always like it. Yeah, you can bitch and moan, but don't fucking pretend you don't understand what's going on. You don't. You don't understand.
I think you were close to it at the beginning. It's in life, some people are just miserable and they like to be miserable, and their life has hurt them. And they're slashing out, and nothing will ever make them happy. Certainly not.
They want to be miserable.
I think deep down they would object to that classification, but it's clear.
But do you agree?
Yeah, of course I agree. I think we all know people in our lives who are relentlessly negative, and they don't even realize they're doing it. It can be a lovely day out and they go, oh, wasps. And you go, yeah, but it's sunny. We get wasps. Oh, it's too hot for me this year. Oh, it's too cold for me this year.
Dan Lander.
There's a word. There's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I don't even mean
it. Dan Lander. I think he plays for Panathinaikos. No, I mean, yeah. Just some people are just relentlessly negative, and they watch football. But I think we've touched on it a lot, and I think my theory, well, not my theory, but a theory that I'm comfortable with, is that there's something missing in their lives. They're not having the impact that they wish they were having as human beings. Their mum loves them very much and tells them how great they are, and they're a fixed mindset personality who believes that they're brilliant and one day will be discovered, and they're frustrated by it, and they're so their view of the world is so lacking in nuance that they think that Arteta just hasn't thought this through. They can see quite quickly that Kai Havertz is a waste of money. So why can't someone who spent his entire life in football and has a product of, how do you say it? La Masia. Yeah. So he's a product of La Masia, and and he can't see that Kai Havertz is. So for them, it's that whole, I'm really clever, Arteta's really stupid, everyone who disagrees with me must be really stupid. And the worst part about it is how quickly they adopt other people's ideas without thinking them through. So they go, oh, I'm angry that we didn't win because it reflects badly on me somehow. And well, what's the reason we've lost? Can't blame the Cronkies. Can't blame, it must be the manager. He's shit. And now it's the fans as well. And it's everybody but them to blame for how they feel. And how they feel is just wrong. It's just wrong to feel that emotion.
And their entitlement. So we should be winning the Premiership. What? When should we? We've never won the Champions League, and that's Arteta's fault. It's like, just back the fuck up.
yeah. Like, George Graham won it, but he did.
Everyone won it. I won it when I was Arsenal manager. It was easy.
That's it. And fair enough to old school Gunner, who I enjoy. Another fan. We disagree, but he posted on one of the comments, "We'll never win anything with Arteta as manager." And I was like, all right, fair enough. So who do you want to come in then? He goes, Ancelotti, me, or you. And I was like, well, I'm really busy. I've got to be honest with you. I can't do it. And I'm not sure I'm the man for it. But it'd be
amazing. It'd be amazing.
I would be. You're right. I'm being lazy.
But more like athletic videos. You'd be right there.
And also, let's not forget that I am sensational at Championship Manager, at least the 2014 iteration of it. And I think that probably, if someone's been watching me play that, they will be thinking,
Is Tonton Makoko, is he out there?
No, he's not in that version. That's a much older version. But there's a really interesting article about him because there's a real player. He never quite made it, and he has to carry this around with him wherever he goes. He goes, people are always saying, ended up in Swedish part-time league. And he's like, it's really difficult for me because everywhere I go, people expect me to be brilliant at football because someone put my stats in when I was an 18-year-old at Derby. And it was like, I was just an 18-year-old at Derby. Most of those players didn't go on and become the world, Ballon d'Or winners. It's like, so I get this frustration that they have with Arteta because Arteta hasn't delivered them what they really want. It's like being, there's some level of entitlement here, which is irrational. And you hear it all the time from people like, it's you're lowering the standards. The one that cracked me up, did I talk to you about this already? Forgive me. I know Scott and I talked about it where Lee Gunner Speaks Facts came on and said, we're not by far the greatest team the world has ever seen. Haven't you heard of Real Madrid, you mug? And I was like, But what's funny about that is, where did Real Madrid finish last season? Second. Up until tonight's game against Getafe, they were second. Ancelotti's got to go. He's lowering the standards. Real Madrid fans that put up with this are scumbags. They're the reason Real Madrid are in the doldrums that they are. And you go, no, it's just that there aren't any teams apart from Bayern that win every single season. And Bayern only win every single season because it's the German league.
Yeah, but actually, without wishing any offense to retards like Lee Gunner Speaks Facts never makes a statement. He will never make a statement at all. All he will do is criticise the statements being made. So while he says, greatest team that got another team, but what about them? He's never actually said they're the greatest team. He's merely questioned and said it.
I thought it was implied in his statement, but
of course it's implied, but it's not stated. Yeah.
I was going to do a thing for the birthday celebration. I'm going to do a video in the next couple of days where I'm starting out bullshit bingo, which is where if a fan says we tore down the stadium for this, that's a tick. If they say, Arteta will never win the league with Arteta, it's a tick. It's like at a certain point, if you're still saying it, it's like someone telling a joke everyone's been telling for weeks. It's like, yeah, it's really good. We'll never. Arsenal, they're trying to walk it in. Arsenal, they're trying to walk it in, and you're like, wow, did you accidentally have an unoriginal thought you thought was original, and now you've realised it? No, we're trying to walk it in. They're trying to walk it, and you're like, there's a point you get to where you go, we've all heard you, and we've all ignored you for weeks, months, sometimes years, and you're still going, and it's just making you angry that everyone's ignoring you. I think for most intelligent people, if you say something and everyone ignores you, and then you go, sorry, did everyone hear me say that?
I wish everyone was ignoring them. The issue is that most people aren't. You know, we've talked about this before.
Oh, I
It's a
think
safe space for received opinions, and
I think that YouTube is the danger I always fall into is mistakenly feeling like what I'm seeing on YouTube reflects what I reminded myself of was that
you've been there lots of times before.
3,000 people went to the Emirates, although the Palace game wasn't as buoyant as it has been, and they go and they sing and they're cheerful. That's if you just saw those and you didn't see any other fans, you'd think, oh, the Arsenal fan base are happy. Then you might go to the Gunners or the Highbury barn after a match, and you might hear the odd person grumbling. But I tell you what, you don't hear at any football match I've ever been to. You're very rarely standing next to a League Gunner or a League Gunner speaks facts, because the rest of the crowd would go, oh, "Shut up, you prick." But online, there aren't enough people going, "Shut up, you prick." So it's go,
they just ignore what you said.
Huh?
They just ignore them.
Yeah, they do. And I think chalkers and people like that comment and so improve this channel as much as they do, they don't get. When I did the toxic video, a lot of people said to me, just don't watch them. And I was like,
that doesn't mean that, that's advice for a viewer, but you're a commentator. That's different. Yeah. So no, it's good that you did it. It's good that you did it. It induces conversation.
Definitely did that, didn't it? It was like definitely. Yeah. I mean, I can't think of the next. Who do I attack next?
But you know, I mean, like with the greatest respect to everyone that offered advice, you weren't looking for advice. You were commentating, saying, "Hey, this pisses me off. What do you reckon?" Oh, don't listen to it. No, I wasn't looking for advice. What do you reckon?
Yeah, but it does point to that kind of the fans who still enjoy football in a more pure and fun way, where they go, oh yeah, watch the people I enjoy talking about it, and I don't bother watching the shitheads. And it's a little bit like, that's a nice way to enjoy football. In fairness, me and you and people like us, we maybe spend more time looking at football, thinking about football, me certainly, than the average person. So these things pop into my radar a little bit more than they do everybody else's. But having said that,
I mean, I basically, I think I started supporting Arsenal because of watching the Cup double with you and your house at the time in North Finchley, or Finchley Central. I'm not going to give the address just in case someone speaks truth, torches it.
It's opposite the KFC.
You're not living there anymore.
No, I'm not.
Exactly. Just
3 Falkland Avenue.
The poor fuckers in there get torched. Anyway, I wasn't into football. Your love of Arsenal got me into football.
Well, we watched the
Arsenal got me into football. You know.
But we watched the World Cup in '90 together.
Yeah, I watched a bit of football, and you know, my grandmother, my great grandmother actually, she was
played for Tottenham.
Yeah, she was centre forward.
Still does.
She was actually from Mesa. She supported West Ham, and that was all sweet and lovely. And never really supported, you know, and it didn't really get to me. But what made it for me was seeing you. Absolutely, and I didn't give a shit at the time, but afterwards I did. It's like, he cares. It's important to him, and it's not because I wanted to find something, but it was there, and I saw something. It's like, look, I can handle loss. I can do it. I can deal with this. But let me see a performance, and that seemed honest to me. And that honesty is important, but honesty is not what we're talking about at the moment. You know, League Honest speaks facts.
We're talking about
is a dishonest premise, and then that offends me a lot.
And it's alien, and I think it offends me also for those reasons, but also because it's alien to what I understand of football. It's not how I grew up understanding football. It's like someone saying to you, "But we're not by far the greatest team the world has ever seen," and you have to go, "Shit, do I have to explain irony to you?" Like, what am I doing?
Ingenuous is irritating as fuck.
But the other thing that you sort of touched on there was that, you know, when Dominique said to me, but it's just entertainment, it's just a game. And I was like, people say that it's triggering to us because I've seen grown men on their knees because of it. I've seen wars have been started. Whether it should mean as much as it does to us or not, That's up for debate. I can understand when people go, "You're taking it really rather seriously," and I go, "Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I just do. It does affect my mood. It does change how I feel."
It's just a nail, right? It's all perspective.
Well, but to the point I always say is, look at it this way. It is a church. It's a way of giving yourself up to something that's bigger than you. I loved the feeling of going to Highbury and feeling part of it. However you feel part of it, whether you're a fan who wakes up early in the morning in America or stays up late at night in Australia, whether you're somebody who's never going to get to the ground, you can still feel part of it. And I love the inclusivity of it. And I love that Arsenal particularly is a team that there are no barriers to entry. Everyone could be an Arsenal fan. You don't have to sound like Troops. You don't have to sound like us. Anyone can be an Arsenal fan, and it's there for everybody. But we have attached ourselves to this thing, and it's bigger than us. So we'd love it if we won the double Champions League and the league this season, and it would make us feel good. But it isn't what it's about. What it's about is allowing yourself to understand you're not really part of it. And part of what's alien to me about this toxicity is they honestly seem to think that they're somehow going to have some influence by repeating the same bullshit over and over again. And that's not what football's about. Football's about giving up control. It's about going, I have no control over this. I could so much want something.
Well, it's certainly not about what management is about. You know? No. So I agree with you on the first premise, but it's also true that any manager who listens to the fans is doomed.
Well, I think Ten Hag's doing it a little bit.
Is he?
I think he is a little bit.
Only because he fucked everything up in the first place, right?
I don't think
the one good player that he had in Casemiro seems to fucking hate him. So,
they overpaid for him, and I think listen, they could do another 2 hours talking about what's wrong at Man United, but I think we both agree that any team has to have a leader, a manager, somebody who picks a team and drops a team, somebody who takes responsibility, somebody who's accountable for the victories and the losses, a figurehead, a decision maker, a dictator. How much control they have over the total club, that's up for debate. Some clubs will have an Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson. I think fewer. I think Pep Guardiola picked Man City because he knew he'd have total control because they were nothing really. They weren't a powerhouse till he went there. It failed for him at Bayern because he realised he was never going to be able to have his own way. The fans have too much sway at Bayern. They very much do.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but the German principle is that there will always be fans on every board. So there is literally controlled by the fans. And there's an argument for that. I like it. But at the same time, when I say I'm a Bayern fan, I don't really identify with other Bayern
No, that's it. You said it now. Yeah, it's all you can do. You're only allowed to be a Bayern fan.
Fuck.
That's it.
Fuck, I didn't realise.
You said it. You said it.
Damn, so I'm a Rapid Vienna fan as well. Does that mean I can't be a Bayern fan now?
Oh my God, he supports 3 clubs. Disgusting.
Celtic in Scotland.
I mean, I don't really support, I suppose, any club. I kind of like Barcelona over here because Real Madrid, the Franco team, but there's a little bit of debate whether that's historically correct.
I saw that because I've been victim of believing that I knew a lot about the Real Barcelona thing without actually really knowing a lot about it.
Yeah,
and
there's always a good chance it's bollocks.
Yeah, so you want to believe, once you start.
I spoke to a few guys recently, and they've come up with some bollocks, and it could be true, it could be not. At the end of the day, you support your local club. Why? Because that's what you can trust. Why do you hate the next club? Because they're nearby. You're similar but different. It's very normal Nietzschean shit. Yeah, I want my kids to go to Tenerife, and I bet you the season tickets are an awful lot cheaper than Arsenal. But they'll always be Arsenal fans. They love Arsenal. Yeah, I've weaned them well. They're always. It's not so much. Watch it. They will be Arsenal fans, but we'll go to Tenerife. We're not going to go to fucking New Camp. We're not going to go to
Nah. Well, no, it's not that far from you. I mean, like relatively.
It's absolutely freaking miles away. It's a 3-hour flight.
Yeah, but I'm saying relative to Kyle going to see Arsenal from Wexford.
From Wexford.
Yeah.
Right. Well, from
Ross
La
Bear or
Gomera,
whatever.
yeah.
I'm saying, if you went, are you not hearing what I'm saying? Like, I know we're
Not
both
really.
getting tired now. So I understand that you don't live in Barcelona, that the
No.
journey time for you to get to Barcelona is roughly equivalent to the journey time it takes Kyle Walsh, who was on with us last week. You remember the gentleman that was from Ireland. The amount of time it takes him to go to Arsenal is greater than the time it would take you to go to Barcelona. So if you were dedicated, do you understand what I'm saying?
It would take me longer there, even than Kyle. But to get to Tenerife, that's different.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's a ferry, right?
Yeah, it's a ferry, short flight,
or a canoe, where you could swim there. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping to go there, but I have to enthuse them, which involves me probably enthusing myself. They missed out.
Isn't there a team? Isn't there a football pitch on La Gomera? And don't you have a team?
Yeah, no, I'm a football coach.
That's how bad it is in La Gomera.
That is
fucking hell.
No, they don't have football. It's the amazing thing about this country.
What do they play? Football. What weird football? What game do they play instead? I love this.
They're great at football, but they rely on the fathers to do it. And there's me, and I'm due to have a hip replacement this year. No joke. And I'm out there. I don't speak very good Spanish, and I'm out there as one of the fathers doing the teaching of the football.
One-legged. What are you going to replace your hip with? Is it just another hip, or are you going for something?
No, I thought maybe like a tree or something.
Yeah. No one ever does that. You just give that a go. Have a frisbee in there.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Yeah,
not this time.
So you're a football coach.
I am. Yeah, I'm very successful actually.
Arteta out, Shaun in.
Yeah.
We can start that campaign right now.
Immediately.
Who's your first 11?
Back me. Rah.
Well, do you think Kai Havertz is shit?
What does everyone else want me to say?
I think they want you to say yes. I think Kai Havertz is the biggest waste of money since Pepe.
What do I think? Honestly, Kai Havertz, after half a season, and that's not enough, I think we probably overpaid about 20 million for it.
Clip this. You mark my words. Arsenal will never win the World Cup with Havertz.
Rah.
That's how you do it.
Exactly. No, there's no nuance. You can't say, well, he should have cost this much. No, he's brilliant or he's shit. I think that 65 million was a little bit over the odds. He's a bit of a utility forward. We all lift our eyebrows at the time. We did. But he is very good. You
calmed me down about it because I was quite pissed off. I was like, I've seen him for 3 years at Chelsea and hated him. Now, I'm still not sure. I'd give him another season just to see. Fabio Vieira got a season and that, and now I've decided I don't like him, but it still took me a season and a half. I still wasn't sure last season. I was giving it the whole Pires took a season. Everyone gets a season. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially if you come from abroad. If you come from Chelsea, that adds pressure because we don't like Chelsea and we don't want their players.
We changed his position. Yeah.
We changed it. We position. Everything about his life has changed. It's not just, you know how to play football. Come and play here. If you joined a band, you wouldn't expect to play their songs with them as quickly. Do you know what I mean? You play guitar. Come and join Fleetwood Mac.
As a drummer, yeah.
How long do I get to learn the songs? Well, you've got an hour. We're on stage in an hour.
And you're on bass. Yeah, McVie's pissed himself.
Peter Green's gone. Indian pop. No, so I think, look, in all seriousness, before we call it a day or a night or another day or whatever on this, what was a birthday celebration is now the day after the birthday. Who are you starting against Liverpool and what do you predict the score will be?
Predict or want?
No, we all want to win. I mean, if you don't want to win...
No. Predict starting lineup. I would like Emil Smith Rowe to start again. That's what I would like. I just don't think he will.
I see. You were saying predict or like in the lineup. No, the lineup's probably who you would play. I think we know.
I'd pick Emil Smith Rowe. I would pick Emil Smith Rowe to start left 8, I would. I think we'll win. I think we'll win.
Who would you play at left back?
Zinchenko.
Who would you play?
With all those choices.
I know, right?
I think I would pluck Zinchenko out of all those.
What do we do in the next fucking 4 months if one of them gets injured? What's the?
Oh, don't be stupid. They won't get injured. What's wrong with
I know. Just play them every minute of every game.
The great thing about Zinchenko is he's not vulnerable, especially when he gets tired.
No, he's never injured. Right. Never, ever injured. Just like Saliba.
He's looking ragged, isn't he?
It wouldn't be how I
thought it was a foul. I thought it was a foul, actually. It's a subtle foul, but a foul. But at the same time, would it have?
I would have. I think if it had been the other way around, I would have been livid if that had been given as a foul. And I think my opinion.
If the other way around, it would have been given.
Yeah, I am. Obviously we are hugely biased, but I do see things and just go. If that ball goes off the pitch when we're attacking a goal, then immediately linesman will go, "That's off," and I will order an Uber. I will take that Uber to the City ground. I will wait outside the ground for that linesman or a referee, an official, and I will tell him off. I will say to him how I feel, or better still, I'll wave my fist angrily through the camera. My forum, my platform, feel my wrath. No, but we are treated differently than other teams. I do as much.
It feels bad. It feels really, really bad.
Like they don't want us to win the bloody league. That's what it feels like. I know that we're doing enough to not win it on our own, and we don't need this much help. And I don't think that's a bad thing, by the way. I don't think it says anything negative about us at all that we didn't win the league. In the last 6 years, only 2 teams have. So, that's all right. I'm happy with us. It is out of order. You're right.
Unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. Lowering the standards. That's another bingo checklist. Lowering the standards. Tall hybrid down. Arteta out. Brown envelopes. Any combination of these things.
Fucking moron.
Yeah. I was saying to Scott earlier, we've got 8 games coming up. We have Liverpool obviously on Sunday. Then we play West Ham. I believe it's at home. Actually, I don't know now. But we play West Ham, then Burnley, then Porto. We have 8 games coming up with Chelsea and Newcastle in their home games. But we have 8 games where if we won them all, it would take us to past the middle of March. We would theoretically only still be 2 or 5 points off the leaders at worst. And we'd be in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Could people still be... Can there still be toxic anger around that? I mean, I tell you why I asked that, and I'm asking that question to you because I did that poll on Arteta in, Arteta out, and it's 30% Arteta out. And that seems like a high number to me. And I could see it getting higher.
Absolutely. If we don't win everything in the world next week, he's obviously not fit for,
But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I accept that there's a rabid population of negative fans, some who are just trying to get clicks and some who are literally just thoughtless and just latch onto the first thing that evokes their ire. But there is the swing states, if you know what I mean. There's people like me and you that are probably in the other quarter. I'm in the 25% that aren't moving on Arteta until maybe 2 or 3 years have gone by. But it's the middle ground, and I worry about. It's absolutely not really worried about it from a point of view of the club because it doesn't look like people have stopped going to matches. But Arteta has, like any other manager, Emery, for example, when people stop going to the Emirates, that's a quick. And at the end of this season, we might not see full houses if we're 8 points off the lead. You know?
To which I say, why not? Right? I mean, what's your issue? What is it that we haven't won that you think we should have won?
Yeah.
That we won before with any regularity that you think that we now deserve to have won?
Yeah.
Talk me through it. You know what I mean? Obviously, Champions League out, we never won it, so that's not even a conversation. It'd be great to win it, but there's no precedent. So shut up. Yeah, we won loads of FA Cups, more than anyone else. It'd be great to win another one, but I couldn't.
Not this season. We're not.
I couldn't. I'm not really concerned. It's about the Premiership. It's about the fucking Premiership. So, how are we doing in the Premiership? And if you
say we're fourth.
Yeah, let's say, for example, we're fourth, and you have a look at that and go, what happened? What happened there? Oh, we've gone down 2 places. That's proper moody. But are we playing good football? Have some other people that have dropped over forward got better? Can we expect Liverpool now to drop off after Klopp has gone? What's the story? Just think about the fucking big picture, please. Or fine, don't think about it and don't advertise your opinion, which is also an alternative. You can do that. Have your own opinion and don't shout it from the rooftop because you haven't got one, right? So don't.
There's that trend of people, you see it a lot, going, clip this. Oh, Carl did it last week. Clip this. I'm saying now, for the record, we're definitely not going to win the league. It's like, I'm not interested in what you think.
Nice clipping.
Yeah, but it's like the future goes, clip this now. I'm saying it's going to rain on Thursday week. It's like, I don't trust your opinion because you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. Like, I haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. So we just don't have to have an opinion on things that haven't happened yet. Let's reserve our opinions for things when they happen, which is what you seem to be saying. And I agree with you. I think the problem is not as serious as the social media that I watch would have us believe, because I don't think there's any chance that there's going to be empty stadiums, even if we were fourth, even if Tottenham are above us. I think people will go to cheer us on and hope that we turn it around, fully in the faith that the players have earned that from us. They have performed well enough to deserve our support and praise. And we have exciting young players, even if they're not world class.
And that's the only thing that's any import to me is that we play entertaining football, because we are here to entertain, or they are here to entertain. If they don't entertain, it's Chelsea territory. Oh yeah, we did that. Can you remember any players? Do you remember any matches? No, can't remember. I can't remember any character. Nothing. You won a few things. Great, well done. How? What's the legacy? What does it mean? Nothing, right? We will do things on our own terms. We are Arsenal. That's all we are. That's all we want to be. And we will win or lose as Arsenal. Get fucking used to it. What's wrong with you?
On that toxic fucking positivity, the kind of toxic positivity that's meant since Herbert Chapman era, it's been toxically positive people like you since 1886 that have meant we haven't won the Champions League. Even before it existed, it was people like you. It's actually just you. And I'm disgusted with you. And I'm going to shout when I'm alone in my room. I'm going to shout loudly about it and hope that Arteta feels my anger through the ether and sells Kai Havertz to a butcher. And
1-0. 1-0.
Oh, don't do that. Do you know what triggers me more than anything? It's this trend that people have going, Arsenal. They do this. I'm not even on camera, am I? Arsenal 2. Look, I don't know what a 2 is. Arsenal. Arsenal 2, Nottingham Forest 1. What is that? Why do people do that?
I don't know, do they?
Arsenal that, Nottingham Forest that. It's when they do the 0 and they do these little... That's not a 0, you bellend. That's your hat.
The sphincter.
Arsenal 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Like, what are we doing? This is like remedial, isn't it?
I believe we're going to beat Liverpool. I think, are we going to beat Liverpool through defence? We've been shabby. I think we're going to straighten up. I think we're going to beat them.
I'm saying 2-0.
All right.
I'm saying 2-0.
How do you even do that? How do you even do that?
Give my hand back, man. I'm saying 2-0 to the Arsenal. I'm saying that we'll have a really long period of people going, oh, I think they're back in a title. I think it's good. I think it could happen for them. And then you know, and then we'll draw with West Ham, and they'll go, they're never going to win it. And then we'll beat Burnley, and they go, oh, do you know what? I wouldn't rule Arsenal out of this. And then we'll get an away draw at Porto, and they'll go, well, they've blown it. And then we'll beat them at home, and they'll go, oh, they're going to win the Champions League.
All I care about is what Gabriel Agbon-Lahore has to say. That's my only sphere of reference.
Yeah, I like to keep abreast of the Agbon-Lahore news. Who's the one? I tell you who I do really respect and rate. It's Lee Gunner Speaks Facts, because he speaks facts, and I like facts.
That's the good thing about Lee.
He doesn't talk facts. He doesn't know facts.
Is he the one that did the expose on us earning loads and loads of money off Arsenal Football Club?
He's the one who rumbled the fact that I'm getting brown envelopes. Actually, brown boxes. I get brown boxes. This was sent to me just earlier.
Boxes of cash. I mean,
yeah.
I
felt bad because brown envelopes is what all the povos get, right? I'm currently on gold envelopes now.
Oh right.
So yeah, that's the latest.
Well, it takes a lot of time for the post to get to Canaries. So
the money.
I'm expecting a load of cash.
Yeah, they don't like to send it to Spain because they don't want Real Madrid to get hold of it and use it to buy one of our players.
Chimp. Yeah. There we go. He's gone quiet for the moment. He's probably got his period.
He's gone. He won't ever be back. We've lost our super troll. We need another one. If you're out there and you're furiously angry about something, then please do find refuge here in the comment section.
You could probably send him some man pons, because he's got heavy flow.
And on that biological bombshell,
all right,
we're calling it a night. I need sleep.
Cheers, mate.
See you later, mate.
Easy. Bye.
Everyone, be lucky.